us about one of your instances that you've done a large deal. Like, what was the dollar amount to that deal? If you could share that with us, and like, what was the experience through that process?
I would say it wasn't a single. I think one of my best solo years, about 2022, I got like $1.8 million solo for like 10 different projects. And it ranged between the Omega Lamplighters, which is a youth program. Appreciate that.
Black on black line, nigga. Black on black line. Welcome to Black History Month, nigga. What's up? Welcome to Black History Month, my boy. Welcome to BHM. It's another one. Oh, we coming back. Don't worry. Woo! We're doing this for slavery, for civil rights, for Jim Crow. Hey, happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to you, BHM. Hey, you ain't even know. Welcome to Black History Month. Welcome for Rosa Parks, baby. Sojourner Truth. That's what we dropping. Sojourner Truth all month. I was about to say, we all killing each other.
Did you know they let banks put mortgages on black people in Florida? You don't believe me? Let's check the statutes. See, in 1842, the Florida legislature had a huge problem of people taking loans from banks on the slaves that they owned, not paying on those mortgages, and taking the slaves and running to other states. Now, as we see here in the text, the resolution called for a committee of 3 members of the Senate and 5 from the House to be appointed for best means of creating a bill or creating some laws around a way to stop people from running off on the plug, running off with property, as you see, that is owned or mortgaged to the banks. Those banks being the Union Bank of Florida, Southern Life Insurance and Trust Company. So they wanted a list to see who sold or disposed of slaves who were mortgaged to those institutions, respectfully, and the number and appraised value of such slaves. This was signed February 16th, Happy Black History Month, 1842, well, adopted by the House at least. I just never heard of a foreclosed slave, because I would really love to put a mortgage on my iPad, put a mortgage on another piece of property that, people today wouldn't really think of. And that's really why we need these statutes in our schools. I understand people were upset about African American history or AP African American history not being taught or banned in certain states. But I believe that if we teach the statutes in these states and make our kids question, why did black people, why did slaves, why did anybody have a mortgage on another person? That would be enlightening to that student, that parent, that teacher in that community to really understand why these laws were written in America and in the free state of Florida. So I believe if we're going to continue to try to teach black history in our schools, let's get the statutes in the schools. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing the content. Happy Black History Month.
one of your instances that you've done a large deal, like what was the dollar amount to that deal? If you could share that with us, and like what was the experience through that process?
I would say it wasn't a single. I think one of my best solo years, about 2022, I got like $1.8 million solo for like 10 different projects. And it ranged between the Omega Lamplighters, which is a youth program. Appreciate that. It was the Omega Lamplighters, which is a youth program under Omega Psi Phi fraternity. We got our first allocation there. I had one allocation for a suicide prevention program, another one for a scholarship for low-income college students, another one for elderly for youth students to essentially teach old people to stop being scammed online so they can understand. Because during the pandemic, everybody was scamming the old folks, right? So they ended up being a different mix there. Also, some money for people that were coming out of prison so that they could transition back into life well, so at least the workforce development part was there. So to me, it was more getting out of the narrative of DeSantis and the nonsense.
No, you right, son, my bad. Give him 90 yards. I told you I had it. What told his mama told me he needed a scholarship. He needed a change in his life. And I'm going to give it to him in Eugene, baby. I'm going to give it to him in Eugene. We're going to out. We're going to out. We're going to the 90 yards. It ain't over till I say it's over.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It is your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. Appreciate everybody tapping in today, whether you are on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Kick, wherever it may be. We are jumping in live today.
Nobody gave
Still trying to get my
and I think that's what people
setups together. Let me mute this guy real quick. Appreciate everybody tapping in on the stream today. It is your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. If it's your first time here, I want to thank you for tapping in today. It's been a lot of news happening. Canada had some elections. I know that Spain and Portugal were out of power. One of the biggest things, it's the 100th day, I believe, of President Trump's second term. But we're really at a point where Amazon said, listen, we're not going to be the only ones hitting these tariffs. We're going to let the customers know what the real price is. And they say the stock market's taking a hit. And we're waiting on this Trump rally to start. Want to hear what some of the good MAGA supporters who could have been impacted by Doge or other places, see what they have to say too. More than anything, I want to appreciate everybody tapping into the stream today via Restream. We are on TikTok today as well. And also, as you know, I am a professional lobbyist. I am watching the Florida legislative session, waiting on them to call budget conference. And if you haven't paid attention to what's happening in Florida lately, America's governor, Ron DeSantis, Florida's governor, has been caught up and attacked by fellow Republicans for what they're saying is diverting millions of dollars, 10 million from Medicaid dollars into different acts to help defeat marijuana and abortion amendments. That's one of the things that they're going through here in Florida. So it has delayed some of the legislative process professionally and personally here. So now I'm at a battle here where I have to travel and my wife has her commitments at work and I have to battle between, okay, cool. Is this going to be, my side that wins or her side? But she's an educator, so we got to battle around that. But more than anything, I'm mentioning that because I will be watching Florida's legislative session. So that may be a part of the stream where we're actually watching Florida's legislative process instead of actually anything else. But I want to hear what this young lady has to say real quick. Let me stop talking. I want to appreciate everybody tapping in the stream today. If it's your first time here, go ahead, like, subscribe for what it is. You'll get a good mix, as you've seen in the warm-up video. I made that on Canva, of politics, gaming, or whatever. So the Twitch channel will be live. I'll try to make it just chatting or politics when I'm doing more politics for what it is. But Chat, let me know where you're from, what issues you care about, but let's hear what this young lady has to say.
Voting.
I hope they vote Republican. Yeah,
Me too.
a Republican.
That's great. And was there anyone trying to tell you that you shouldn't like President Trump?
Nope, never.
There you go. So we
What's
love
that
President
doing?
Trump too. Thanks so much for seeing us today. And I'm excited for you to see our great president, who's the 45th through 47th president of the United States. Exactly. Anything else you'd like to say to the RSBN viewers?
I have something to say actually about the school district. Like my mom has to put me in private schools. I go to St. Lawrence on Utica, and we shouldn't have to do that. We could be going to Disney every summer if we could go in public schools, but we can't because of all the stuff they're teaching.
So true. My nieces also had to switch to private schools, a Catholic school, because the public schools were becoming so indoctrinated with messaging that was very inappropriate. So it sounds like you saw that too in your school.
Yup. I like my teachers. I'm glad I'm not in that school district. I'm glad I'm in this area.
Wonderful. So it sounds like you're going to be set up for success in life, and we wish you a wonderful future. And if there's anything else you'd like to say, here we go.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Thanks for joining us.
All right,
Juliana,
nothing to attack that young lady. You know, she's a nice young lady. She doesn't know that, you know, she's been indoctrinated too to believe whatever she wants to. And it's like, it's not a knock, but what are the public schools teaching you? Because honestly, I know you want to go to Disney every summer, like anybody would, right? People who live in Florida want to go to Disney every summer. Some people don't do it. But it's the point of saying, cool, your people can afford to put you in private school. And what are they teaching in this public school in Warren, Michigan? You're up in Utica now, right? She said it. I didn't look it up. What are the public schools like? I don't even want to look it up. I honestly don't want to look it up. But it's like, okay, we kind of get it. I don't want to broadcast these guys' page for what it is because y'all not here to see them. I'm here to see the Trump's 100 days. So let's see if we could see another page that actually goes through it, or at least something that's relevant to what you came to see. Either way, let's type in this. I need something with it. The Amazon piece, I think, is going to be very telling for the Amazon piece is going to be very telling for the stocks, I would say. People who are like, they say, you know, trying to call options, puts, whatever, whatnot. I don't really see the impact, right? It's about 186 right now. From what I do look at this chart of Amazon, let me actually pull up a, people are talking about it. Let's look it up, right? Talking about it. What is Amazon stock doing right now? So if you look at, this is long term, let's look at the day. About 186. Daily chart up to the minute. Every 10 minutes. Oh, 30-day trial. I ain't got all that. Right. Okay. Even with the tariff announcement, I think that what the bots are doing, as you can clearly see, Amazon said they're going to announce their tariffs. We're going to get into the video, the press conference of the White House there now. It's like, I don't really see a major drop, right? There's a buy zone here. There's a zone here. It dropped to a support level. And it went back up, and it really closed at where it started at almost yesterday, mid-afternoon, right, 24 hours ago. So it could still close around 188. I don't see if it drops to 184, 180. That'll be, but there's a gap in here somewhere. So, you know, I don't know. This isn't, you didn't come for that. But I don't see the narrative of them saying it's going to be a major drop. However, Amazon is taking some heat because they're going to post the tariffs. They're posting their tariff prices, and I think it's fair because the customers need to know, okay, here's the base, here's our margin, here's how much of this you paid in tariffs. It's almost as if when they put the labels on the back of the food and tell like this is how much sugar, salt, and everything else is in it. So it's kind of like they let you know. And I cannot find a good stream that has the news. Like, Nobody talking about the news? So where the news people at? Let me get into the White House press conference. And I haven't checked.
So it was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing here.
Is Jeff Bezos still a Trump supporter?
Look, I will not speak to the president's relationships with Jeff Bezos, but I will tell you that this is certainly a hostile and political action by Amazon. And Secretary, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I would also add that the bringing down the terrible Biden inflation has been a priority for the first 100 days of the Trump administration, and President Trump has done a great job of leading that since January 20th. Interest rates, mortgage rates are down, gasoline and energy prices are down. We're expecting the further decreases. And as Caroline said,
that's why I'm check the chat.
The big tax on consumers that goes unnoticed is deregulation or regulation, and we are deregulating and bringing that down. So, from a household income point of view, we would expect real purchasing increases. We've seen them over the first 100 days, and we would expect that to accelerate. We are doing peace deals, trade deals, tax deals, and deregulating. And the deregulation is a longer lead time, but I think by the third and fourth quarters, that's really going to kick in.
Kelly, go ahead. Thank you, Caroline. A question for you and Secretary Bessent. We talk a lot about volatility and uncertainty in the marketplace, and the president has stated all along that he's more concerned about mainstream America, the American worker. You just talked about deregulation and this entire fair trade and reciprocals. What is your message to the American people in terms of letting them get through this disturbance and the outcome being greater and a greater good for the American worker, the American people, the American families?
I would say trust in President Trump. There's a reason he was reelected to this office. It's because of the historic success of his economic formula in the first term. And as I laid out at the beginning of the briefing and the Secretary has talked about and the President talks about every day, there's a proven formula that works. Massive deregulation, energy independence, and tax cuts, which are coming. And the Secretary is working very hard on that with our counterparts on Capitol Hill. If you want to talk about that, that's a huge deal to put more money back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. As for the fair trade deals the president is trying to negotiate, he's not just righting the wrong of the mess that he inherited from the past 4 years of the Biden administration. This is a mess that has been created for the past 4 decades that has sold out the middle class, that has moved jobs overseas. You think about our heartland, middle America, what towns used to look like, what they look like today. President Trump wants to restore the golden age, and it's a process to do that.
Oh, my bad. I've been checking the chat. Let me hop in the chat. Appreciate y'all tapping in.
Team, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick,
first time here. What's this about? I'm Turkish,
Spanish,
double citizen,
24/7. But tax cuts are coming, and that's key. And Mr. Secretary, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's really a three-legged stool in the economic policy. It's
my
trade,
bad for not tapping into the
it's
chat,
tax,
y'all.
And it's
just
deregulation. So we are in the midst of
Lewis.
addressing, as Caroline said, these long-term trade imbalances. The tax bill is going much better than I would have thought when I took office on January 28th, and that's through President Trump's leadership. That Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune are united. Speaker Johnson, we had a very good meeting yesterday with something called the Big Six.
JP, thanks for the
NEC
comments, man. I
Director
appreciate
Kevin Hassett, myself,
engaging the platform.
Speaker
I
Johnson,
believe you're right on a
Leader
lot of
Thune,
information you're saying. Let me
Committee
actually
Chairman
read through
Jason Smith, and Senator Crapo. And the tax bill is moving forward. It is going to give permanence to the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act, which will, back to the question on certainty, it will give American business certainty, it will give American people certainty.
And then
sure?
President Trump let me know in the chat, are you certain as citizens right now with everything going on, with the tariffs, with everything across the board, chat? I think it's a point of this narrative that people are comfortable. But sometimes I don't feel the comfort that maybe it's me, right? It could be my circle, because my circle could be broke. Maybe my circle's wealthy, right? And comparatively, what we look at and what they do is something totally different. But there's a point of saying, how are you actually feeling? Because I feel that a lot of the pollsters, a lot of the politicals, 'cause I work in politics, right? I think that a lot of the politicals like to say, yeah, everybody's doing well. Yeah, they want you to fight for this. But you've never actually taken the time to talk to people to find out what they actually want, right? And because we're not taking the time to say, hey, yeah, this is what people actually want. This is what people have, they've elected. But really, not to say people didn't vote, because people voted. Not to say votes were stolen, whatever. But what do people have to vote for? On one side, people were energized to vote for Trump. The other side, people didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris. Across the board, Americans didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris. They wanted to vote for another option. But we could say this is what people voted for, but this is what we really want either way. Let's get back to it.
Adding the things for
Love your channel, bro. Hey, I appreciate that. Please make sure you like and subscribe and pause it again. If you're first time here, I am the hip hop lobbyist. I'm a professional lobbyist in Florida's legislative process. I help elect members to Congress, state legislatures, pass laws, get money in budgets, all kind of things, right? I help make government move for the people. However, if it's your first time here, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. I will be chopping this up into shorts and reels and all that other good stuff. But I am trying to break out of my box and build a community of people who want to not only discuss politics, engage in politics, but, go through different things. But either way, I appreciate y'all tapping in. Let's get through this and get back to this 100-day rally with President Trump, man.
Making auto payments.
I need to order some lunch. I haven't ate today. I need some.
Substantially address
I'm thinking, honestly,
crisis. And the other thing that
I
Jimmy
would
John's. Note, and back to data, is
hey, I appreciate that like and subscribe, JKL Pop, man. Appreciate that, man. We're trying to get to 500. I think we're almost there.
That over the past 100 days,
Brian and Liz, appreciate y'all tapping in as well, too.
Americans haven't done a trade, and in fact, individual investors have held tight, while institutional investors have panicked. So individual investors trust the investors trust President Trump.
That sounds good. Cut this. I'm trying to find where's this 100 days. I'm gonna go back to the rally.
20 that I realized what actually was happening, and that's when I
Let's
said
go back to the rally, man.
I did not become a citizen for this. I didn't sign up for this. And so we've gotten very involved politically, which is something I never, ever, ever imagined doing. Door knocking and petition, circulating and all that stuff. Never in my lifetime, but here we are. Because I encourage all Americans, get up, go out there. The very least, attend
this rally is in Warren,
meetings,
Michigan.
your city council meetings, township meetings. That's the very least you can do. So please do that.
That's what it's all about, grassroots enthusiasm for standing up for American values. And what did you mean by when you saw what was happening in 2020, that this isn't what you signed up for in America?
A stolen election, completely stolen election. We saw all the proof. Yeah.
Is this something that other...
And I don't understand that, because now she's saying that, right? Actually, I could keep this running, but I could just...
countries around the world that have been taken over by corruption, is this how they operate?
Absolutely. And that's what I meant by, I didn't sign up for this. I chose to be an American citizen. I chose that. So I please encourage all American citizens, get involved locally with your local government. Get out there. Stop complaining. Get out there and make a difference.
So true. And thanks for all your grassroots hard work that you guys have been doing to stand up for what you believe in and the American values that you came here for. So we want to thank you for that. And is there anything else you'd like to say to the RSBN viewers?
Well, we thank you guys. Michael,
RSBN's the best news.
What makes you say that?
RSBN's the finest news we have.
Because?
I guess I'm not gonna advertise them on my channel like that, but it's Warren, Michigan. Chat. If you're asking, Warren, Michigan. My thing is this, right? You can be Republican all day. You can have your opinion. You can be there, right? It's 5 years after that election. The former Attorney General, William Barr, came out and said there was nothing stolen. There were other Republicans, independents, who basically said nothing happened. If you're still sitting here 5 years believing that lie, I'm not going to say, oh, I could sell you a bridge in Idaho or a lake and fuck all that. You have to just realize that some people just never going to come across the water. They're never going to live in reality. They're going to live in their own bubble. And when you realize that people can entertain, advertise, and engage these people that live in their own bubble that aren't going to take whatever facts you want to take, then okay, live with it. You just need to know that Democrats, independents, whoever needs to try to defeat this nonsense, right? If you're on that side of the aisle, you just need 2 or 3 people to outnumber these people. You need, and here's the thing, right? Check this out. You have people that are educated to say, hey, yes, let's go get an education, get our student loans repaid, right? But at the same time, you have people with a lesser education who come out to vote because those higher educated people, you still have to drag them to the election polls on election day because they're going to complain regardless. They're not going to vote. And that's the issue. But let's get back to these people. They said they're still going. I thought they were just pumping the page, but let's go.
Term for governor. What do you think about that for the state of Michigan? What's next for the governor of Michigan?
I honestly don't know. One thing we have to do is turn the state around and get rid of that whole administration. It's corrupted. So we need a clean house in Michigan.
Yeah, we're hoping for somebody that understands the Constitution and doesn't take that away from the people.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you both for joining us today. And
one thing I realized on the other side is that they don't need a lot of talking points. Constitution, media, Christian conservative values, my guns, my rights, make America great again. Right? You don't need to go too far out the box with a lot of this stuff. I think in North Carolina, they had the black guy run, and it was kind of confusing because he ran, and then he said some stuff about the Klan, and it was like, you know what, hey, we want to go far, but we ain't going that far, bro. Like, you are on your own, brother. Severe weather conditions. Where is the news? There's no news live. This is actually absolutely crazy. Maybe I'm just not searching for it right. That's what it is. I'm just not searching for it right. Because when they had the fire in LA, I was able to find everything that I needed online. There was live channels of everything burning in California. Now there's nothing. They're on a brief recess of 15. I need to order my lunch. Shout out to my good brother Derek McGee, Bible-based church, Tallahassee.
He's a full service speaker.
Check out this press briefing. See what the Republicans talking about in the House.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today marks 100 days of President Trump's second term, and I am honored that he has chosen to celebrate in my home state of Michigan. There's no better place to celebrate 100 days than in Macomb County, Michigan. The first 100 days proves that we are headed in the right direction. The direction
I think I may order some Jamaican or
people voted for. Just look at the White House lawn today. Pictures of violent, illegal aliens that Biden let into our country. These rapists, murderers, and child molesters have no home here in the United States of America. And guess what? There's room on the White House lawn for a lot more of them. And that's what the American people voted for. And we are going to keep going until every single one of them is removed to make our streets for Americans safer. Thankfully, there's a lot less of those illegals coming in now. Because apprehensions at the border are down 94%. and Border Patrol averaged the lowest daily nationwide apprehensions in history. President Trump is taking action and Congress is passing border security bills.
Hey,
we've sent
my
a
man.
message. The border is closed. Now,
hey, make sure. I gotta get my dog show right, man. I gotta get my dog show right.
And literally putting violent MS-13 gang members before
supporting the streams and shit. You know, we talking politics.
That's their message. Look no further than their recent trip to El Salvador, one of which was funded.
What is my dog show, bruh? He be talking about Drake too much for me to be tapping in, but you know. Hold on.
Democrats cater.
Y'all just follow J. Harris, the real spill. I'm tripping. Let me pause this real quick.
The family of Rachel Morin or the family of Lincoln Riley. No. They would rather have MS-13.
Yeah, she going in, but I want to take a quick break real quick. Shout out my daughter, Real Spill podcast. He like him more than I like Kendrick, and that's okay, right? But make sure you check out my dog page. He does great reviews of movies. He just did Sinners, also music overall. And guess what? My conservatives out there, he's a armed service member serving this great country, making sure we're protected. But give a shout out to my dog, J. Harris, Real Spill Podcast.
Gang members who
I need to order my lunch. I'm thinking still, I don't know what I want.
To the United States. That is the Democratic
JKL, the name of the name, his page is J. Harris, J. Harris on TikTok, and then you'll also see the Real Spill podcast. Hey, Justin, drop it in. If you can hop on YouTube, drop it in the channel on YouTube, bro. The Real Spill podcast. You type it in on TikTok right now. Everybody type it in TikTok, kick, YouTube, Twitch. I appreciate y'all.
No vision.
I shouldn't have muted that. Y'all should listen to the lady while I'm talking and shit, right?
Or maybe they do. Maybe their next leader is in MS-13.
Here they go.
Meanwhile, House Republicans, we have our leader. And that leader is our president, Donald Trump. He's unleashed American energy, taken out terrorists, and restored common sense by protecting women's sports. And he's achieved all of this in his first 100 days.
There we go.
Now, turning our attention to our business and our work this week, committees have been instructed, and we will begin to pass pieces of that one big, beautiful bill. We will identify savings and investments that will make America secure and competitive. Now, as we continue our committee work, I encourage you to watch.
Markups are basically the bills or the appropriations that Congress will be passed through. Because a lot of times, what I realize
for illegal immigrants and violent gang members, because that's who they support.
They'll talk about MS-13 and talk about the gang members all day, right? The issue is when it comes down to actual policy and actually changing things, like, you know what, how do we keep the MS-13 gang members out of our country, out of our neighborhoods? They're not teaching you the statutes and they're telling you the laws. They're not teaching you how to write the law. So you know what? I found a loophole. Just imagine you're a Christian conservative down there in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, right? Even New York. And you realize that the gangs have taken over your HOA, right? Your rural area, they're taking over the Piggly Wiggly, right? Instead of you now knowing how to go change the law and the loopholes in the law that they found to go fix that, guess what? They're not teaching you that shit. They're just scaring you. Hey, they're taking your jobs, they're taking your guns. You got to protect yourself against them. Then you're looking at them kind of crazy when you go to the gas station at the Buc-ee's, right? Hey, we love the brisket, but if I see you at the wrong place, I may shoot your ass, right? All that combined collectively is an issue because they can scare you with the MS-13. So now you're looking at anyone who's maybe Venezuelan descent, Hispanic descent, Latino descent, whatever it may be, and you may be looking at them judgmental now, right? Because you don't know if the MS-13, they have tattoos on them, but it could be a tribute to their parents, their family, right? You're not talking about that. You don't want to do that. We're scaring people with MS-13 and everything else, but I don't want to deal with that. What I want to do is help teach people, like, you know what is a markup? And if you're doing a markup, how much money, excuse this commercial, I'm not going to cut it off, out of this markup, how much money is going to come protect my community and educate them about not only how to protect them from the MS-13s, but how do we create jobs for maybe these guys were at the hotel, they're working at the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Now all of a sudden, there are 5 or 10 openings. Well, shit, how do we train these people to be in those positions? How do we make sure this doesn't happen again? Right? That's the part where we don't want to educate people about nothing. We just want to spin the block on whatever's hot. And the issue is on the Democratic side, they're only talking about student loans, right? They let go of not interracial sports, but intersexual sports or trans sports, whatever they want to call it, right? The intersectionality, you know, people, they read these books these days and they start dropping words like intersectionality, right? Intersectionality between the pandemic till now has been one of the most overly abused words because it's the intersectionality of men and women playing basketball together. No, it's not cool. Because even Serena Williams will tell you practicing against a man for tennis is different than practicing against a woman. But that's not here. That's not this conversation. Either way, to the point, Democrats have nothing to talk about right now. And because they have nothing to talk about, Republicans are spiraling saying whatever. But then when it gets down to the brass tacks, maybe the staff analysis of the statutes, they realize like, damn, these tariffs maybe fucking shit up. We're raising $500 million, but the stock market's down 300 points for the year in the first 100 days. After this, I muted them, didn't I? After this press conference, I should probably go back through. We'll see if Trump is actually speaking. Because the major part of, let's actually go back. If we're really being real, whether you broke, made a lot of money, whatever, right? Through these first 100 days, it's going to be interesting to see if ABC, how people feel in the next 100 days, towards the end of the year, if they feel so great now. It's got to be a live rally. I know Trump having a rally today. Pastors and the pimps and let's hop in here for now. Let me order my food. Let's hop in with the market. What are they talking about over here?
And then also from our partners at Fox 29 in Philadelphia, what looks to be a truck hanging off a bridge there that has collapsed. So
that's
we're
wild.
trying to get more details on this story. So far,
see, when they talk about, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Partners
Check this out.
Fox 29. Not sure exactly what happened here.
Not sure what happened, but you can see it's a truck that fell. We talk about infrastructure, roads, bridges. When they're saying that bridges are collapsing in America, this is what they're talking about, right? Like when they finished this survey and they realized what happened, they knew it could have been fixed years ago, probably. But somehow, some way, the money got diverted. The Army Corps engineers are going to come out here and they're going to realize, like, hey, this never got fixed. This could have been avoided. Luckily, hopefully, there's no casualties from this. Let me get back.
Live events.
I didn't even order my food yet. I'm tripping. Appreciate everybody tapping into the stream, man. Make sure you like and subscribe for more. JK Pop, I appreciate y'all. JP, dropping info earlier, man. Everybody on a commercial break. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do some better. I'm gonna find out who is live, like which news channel is live 24/7. So for tomorrow's stream, if we're there, we'll just go all the way in. I'm still trying to find this Trump rally live. What is it? I know in Canada. I saw something with the Canadian election live earlier. Go back to the rally.
Independence for America. So here he is, ramping back up the Keystone XL pipeline and others. So it's great to see the gas prices going down. And is there anything else you'd like to say for our SBN viewers?
Just Trump 2024.
Trump 2024 and Trump 28, which is really awesome to see. And we have some ladies for Trump over here with their bling on.
Oh, they got their bling on? Go ahead.
Trump. Don't forget that special word, educated.
Educated women for Trump. So what brings you on here today?
Look at
See my awesome president. This is my 8th rally.
Okay.
So excited.
Okay.
Wonderful. So have you seen President Trump all in Michigan rallies, or have you gone anywhere else to travel?
Only in Michigan. Yep.
And why did you vote for President Trump?
Because he actually opened my eyes to all the corruption that's going on in our country.
Oh, wow,
I never knew it before. I've always been a Republican, but when he came around, I was like, no, he's wrong. And then he wasn't. He was telling the truth.
He was slowly but surely exposing it all, and I think a lot of Americans woke up over the past few years, like yourself, which is great to see.
Which is great. I have 4 children, and they are all aware of the corruption, so hopefully it will end and not go farther down the line.
So it's very important to be educating the youth and making sure they're getting the truth and the right messaging too. So it's for our future, it's for our current times and our future generations here in America.
Quarantine at Ellis Island for 2 weeks until the way. The American dream.
Trump 2028.
Don Jr., Byron, whatever, man. Let's go. Just keep it in the family.
We love that. Thanks for joining us today. So much enthusiasm here for President Trump. People are lining up, getting ready outside. People are cheering, people are excited. And I would like to point something out too. We've been to so many rallies. Personally, I have been with RSBN for so many rallies during the campaign season, and I barely see any protesters. But if you've been paying attention to what's been going on around the country, there have been...
I don't want to pay attention to that real quick. I want to go back to the lady, like, did you hear what she said? Now, I don't want to go back to her. I could. Actually, let me go back. Let's hear what she said.
Rally. I'm so excited.
That part. What? Oh, not this part.
Future. It's for our current times and our future generations here in America.
What's going on in our country? He wasn't. He was telling the truth.
He was slowly but surely exposing it all, and I think a lot of Americans woke up over the past few years, like yourself, which is great to see.
Which is great. I have 4 children, and they are all aware of the corruption, so hopefully it will end and not go farther down the line.
So it's very important to be educating the youth and making sure they're getting the truth and the right messaging too. So it's for our future, it's for our current times and our future generations here in America. So was there anything else President Trump was promising during the campaign that you just...
I'm not saying she's right. Right, we had an issue with a sheriff down here. Not an issue. Grady Judd, you may have heard of him. Funny sheriff, hilarious sheriff down here in Florida, right? Where he'll go and put the mugshots up, check my ball alert, you'll look for him, right? Either way, he tells stories about, well, he's told stories about illegal immigrants who may have, check this out, may have been pulled over for not driving on a bike. They make a turn, somebody's wrong, and they killed somebody on a bike by mistake. That to me is like, damn, you know what, you're right. There's a point of saying, you know what, you shouldn't be in the country. If you weren't here, this person would still be alive. I'm not disputing that. But then it's a part of when you have Sally Jesse Raphael here giving her description of getting illegals out and killing our kids. I think the perception of that is different. Because you also have Russian gangs, Asian gangs, and other gangs in this country, to be honest, that are hunting people down, tracking people, and killing people too. That aren't getting as much headwind as when you think about, like earlier, talk MS-13, right? Nobody's thinking of the Asian gangs and the Russian gangs when they think about the illegals killing kids, right? And because they're not being deported to Venezuela, or as broadcast as being deported to Venezuela as everyone else, that's the issue. But then, getting to the fact of what she said her people went through, because if you go back to it, right, check this out. Remember when Trump said that the 14th Amendment was really for slaves to give them citizenship? It wasn't for everybody, right? People have been using this to benefit them for a while. If you don't believe it, I'll go back to it, right? Trump said it. But here's what she said.
Come in the right way or don't come at all, like my grandparents did.
Where did your grandparents come from?
Italy.
They came from Italy. So your grandparents weren't born here, right? Okay, cool. They wanted to come to America. Check it out.
Came in the right way.
Came in the right way. Whatever that may mean. They didn't swim over. They had to save up some money in their country, boat, fly, train, plane, whatever, right? They came over the right way, and you can hear the rest.
Quarantine at Ellis Island for 2 weeks until...
Quarantine at Ellis Island for 2 weeks? What's that, like Guantanamo Bay? Whatever, right? Let's get to it.
They were healthy to get out, had to learn to speak English, and had to get a job.
The issue is, to be real, I've gone to parts of Orlando. This is free state of Florida, Governor DeSantis, all this other place. I've gone to parts of this state where you go to a resort and nobody speaks English, right? But then the people who, I don't know if I can say this politically correct without, whatever. I'll just say it. If it was good for your people, why can't it be good for everybody else? Who's to say the person coming from Honduras who's not a criminal, who's not MS-13, the person from Jamaica, that person from Nigeria, that person from Asia, from Russia,
who could be associated with the gang, but they're not. Why can't they try to come in what they feel is the right way? Because your people have benefited from the same thing that Trump wants to repeal, which is the 14th Amendment that basically says, hey, you can come over here, but guess what? If your people had a kid here, they would be citizens too. Maybe I'm tripping. I'm not reading the Constitution for what it is. Maybe they know the Constitution better than me, right? I was luckily born here. My mother's naturalized. I don't care. They're not going to deport me anywhere. Let's get back to it though, because I just wanted to go back to this lady's Sally Jesse's big hair. It is what it is.
That's right. That's the true American way.
The American dream.
That's the American dream. Thanks for joining us
That's
today.
the
And is there
American
anything
dream.
else you'd like to say to our RSBN viewers?
So if somebody's in,
Trump 2020.
I ain't worry about that. If somebody's in another country, South Africa, Johannesburg right now, they're in Asia, they're in India, they're in wherever, Australia, they say they want to come the right way and they do it, is there a difference? Or am I tripping? I'm not saying swim across the channels. I'm not saying be a part of a gang. But it seems as if somebody feels like it's doing it the right way, it's there because of something that kind of gets lost. I had a friend of mine, associate of mine, whose family member was caught up in the caravans from Mexico. However, the issue was they were Haitian. So they were in Haiti, got funded out of Haiti and ended up in like South Brazil. Then they got caught up in the caravan in Brazil and said, hey, we're going to take you back to America. We need you to get out of here. They rounded them up, got on the caravan. For 6 months, they walking from South America all the way to the Texas border in these caravans, right? And you hear the caravans coming because the gang members are there. All these people, they bundle up going to the border. All that put together is great. But then you get to the point of these Haitians are at the Texas-Mexican border, and they're like, damn, we came here off a caravan because we were told this is the right way to come in. Now, it's the wrong way. I'm not saying, oh, yeah, you're right. Let them all in. I'm not saying that either. Right? But it's the point of saying, all right, cool. This is what they thought was the right way. But then they also realize, shit, if I get you pregnant in Mexico City and it's 9 months later on, 6 months later on this walk, and you get here and you birth the baby across the line, we good. That's the right way. There's no Ellis Island for me to take no quarantine test, but this is what they say. Either way, where is this Trump rally at? Let's get back to where these Republicans at. Has Trump started his rally? I ain't want to go back.
Military taking us.
Oh, he landed.
Thanks
okay.
so much
He's
for your
almost there.
message today, and have fun at the rally.
Appreciate everybody tapping in, man. That's a rookie mistake. They stream. Find another one. Trying to find Trump live for this 100 days since y'all with me. Are they still there?
To the men over 50 who don't know how to use AI. Tomorrow morning, we're starting the 28-day AI challenge for beginners over 50.
Kim.
Just 15 minutes a day to
all in the deportation.
But then, see, my thing is, I get exactly what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with
Another
that.
one that I
But having other
invested
people,
in, I'm
other
very happy
like
with,
lineages and other cultures, people taking advantage of that, knowing it was for slaves, right?
I have 3 children. One already through
They haven't
school,
taken advantage of that
left,
too?
And obviously work in the education system, or you're saying from in terms of like a family standpoint. Just from a family standpoint, my mom actually was a teacher. She passed away 12 years ago. She would be just completely ashamed of what it's turned into. I actually work in trucking, so not auto worker, but I'm a trucker, so not personally, but
I didn't even order my lunch
President
yet.
Trump just signed an executive order saying that in order to drive a commercial vehicle, you have to speak English and be proficient in it for safety reasons. Thoughts on that?
Absolutely. If you live in this country or if you're here legally on a visa or whatever else, you need to speak the language. We need to speak it if we go to another country. You're out there in a big rig tractor. Obviously, safety is key. It's going to do nothing but put more danger on the roads if we continue to allow all the foreign truckers.
Have you ever driven in Miami? I don't need to know you speak English if you could drive.
I was very happy with the executive orders yesterday as well.
Wonderful. Is there anything you would like to say to the RSBN viewers?
No, I ain't worried about that. See, it's a BL licenses. They can drive big rigs, right? It's not like how can I say? In every city where there's probably a high influx of immigrants, a lot of people can't drive, right? I would have cussed, but I'm trying to control myself. I am hungry though, right? But they're CDL drivers. If they're driving big rigs, they have to be some kind of license. I don't think that somebody's going to put that insurance and everything on there with the big rig and all these people, but F it.
Why don't y'all find these big rigs with all these sex traffickers in them that are stealing all these girls, black girls, Hispanic girls, white girls, all these young ladies out here in these streets and selling them into prostitution across the world? Why don't y'all put in a license for that? That's what I'm frustrated about. There's nothing that says, hey, yeah, we need to focus on something that actually works. Where is this Trump rally? Looking for the Trump rally. I'm tired of giving these other people some credit, man. You know, ain't nobody live. They're the only ones live in the whole world, and me. Crazy.
Any examiner who wants to download it and research primarily iOS devices. Here,
while we wait
on
the President Trump rally,
so every file or folder that is on the device I can see within this directory view as you would normally see on a regular computer. And we can see the browserstate.db database. If I open that database up, you can see there are 4 tables, one of which is called tabs.
Mr. Whiffen, I hate to interrupt you. Can we make this larger? I know jurors earlier were hoping
I can try to
have a larger view of what's up there.
This is the Karen Reed murder trial.
Is that going to impact your demonstration in any way?
It shouldn't. I should be able to work around it, thank you.
Is that better for the jurors?
I'm not too familiar with this. I'm not even going to waste my time.
Yes.
Y'all know what I'm here for. First 100 days. Let's see what Roland Martin talking about. If y'all want to Roland Martin, y'all can go to Roland Martin.
Easy.
I saw that. You're not ready here either. It's a lot of moving parts of this. And pull this up. Y'all heard about this illegal bus? Colorado Springs, I believe. Let's get the whole.
So good morning, John Pullen with DEA and the Rocky Mountain Division. We're here on the scene of an underground nightclub where over 300 federal law enforcement, along with our local partners from El Paso County and Colorado Springs PD, executed an enforcement operation this morning. It's a drug investigation. We seized quite a number of guns and took a number of people into custody. I think what I'd like for
let me know. Should I get Jamaican or a sub? I'm really down, but those can take about 20 minutes.
Jonathan, give us some perspective here.
I could do Chinese too, but I've done
Chinese.
Officers,
what brought about this kind of requirement, this kind of need to be here with that show of force?
So this is an underground illegal nightclub, okay? And what was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence. We seized a number of guns in there. We had active duty service members who were running security at the club and involved in some of these crimes.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, we had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well, and those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE.
Active duty service members helping as security here. Can you elaborate on that at all?
So it's an ongoing investigation, but we had over a dozen active duty service members in the club tonight, either as patrons or working as armed security.
Wait. So you mean to tell me that these guys picking up their military check and in the underground? That's crazy. That's
How many
crazy.
of those were detained and what are they facing right now?
So Army CID was one of our partners out here, and they're going to work with us on what the next steps for those active duty service members looks like.
Yeah,
you mentioned that this is a drug trafficking operation. Can you elaborate on any drugs you found, the amount, any charges you anticipate that could come out?
I may do Chinese chat.
So as you may suspect, when the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor. And we did find cocaine, It looks like some pink cocaine or the Tusi, and there's a little bit of other drugs, but we haven't had time to test everything. But there were dozens of small packages of drugs that they've recovered so far that I personally
wow. They was in an underground club. They was all trying to get high.
This has been a long-term investigation by DEA and a number of our federal partners. And so we've been working on this underground nightclub for a number of months, doing undercover surveillance, a lot of other work to identify what's going on here. And again, you know, months-long information about drug trafficking and prostitution happening inside.
So you said there were 300 federal law enforcement. How many people were actually inside of this underground nightclub?
We estimate over 200 people were inside the nightclub when we came here tonight, and so that's why we needed such a large force. You know, anytime you're dealing with that many people, we want to do it safely, and that's what we did.
Because of the nature of the nightclub, are all of them facing charges? Everyone inside?
No, they're not. A lot of people were turned away. As I said, over 100 went into ICE custody. A few people went on state arrest warrants. They had outstanding warrants, and we actually have a few other operations pending right now across the city. We're waiting to determine if there'll be other arrests from those.
Damn, well, they cracked down heavy on that, man.
Going in, or was everything just a smooth operation going in and out, making sure everything was taken care of?
Anytime there's 200 people, there's going to be a little bit of concern about safety, but overall, it was a safe operation.
That's crazy.
In our investigation, we have noticed TDA, MS-13, and I believe Hell's Angels in this club. I don't have the information about whether those members were there tonight, but we're still working through a lot of that because we have so many people in custody. We're working through a lot of the information about who's who.
Jonathan, after the raid in Adams County back in January, you received criticism because you didn't have arrests. You talked about the cops went in, the drugs went to the ground. Are you expecting to be criticized here, and how do you address those critics now?
So DEA is going to continue to work to keep our community safe, no matter what the criticism is, right? We are not going to accept drug trafficking and prostitution in our cities, and so absolutely Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer city this Sunday morning.
Can you talk to us about the local assistance and, you know, how that all played out?
Absolutely. We had over 10 federal agencies in support of this operation, but we also had Colorado Springs PD and El Paso County Sheriff's Office supporting us.
And they had everybody busting on them.
Obviously, Tony mentioned too the one in Adams County that also involved.
I don't know how long they thought the underground club was going to be able to survive. But they thought it was going to go for a while, man. What's CBS talking about?
Over the same period, he's only signed 5 pieces of legislation into law, which is the lowest of any president over that period. So this is a president that likes to govern through executive action, that likes to, you know, with the tariffs, you know, launch.
Almost like my wife today. I'm so indecisive. I can get pizza.
The tools that Congress has given him to make law effectively. And what we see now is that he's fighting some resistance in the judiciary. There's a question the executive branch is inching towards this idea that some judicial decisions might be illegitimate. But that's really a recontesting of the traditional separation of powers that we've understood for the last few decades, maybe even a century.
Idris Khaloun, thank you.
Thank you.
Still to come, we are continuing to mark 100 days of President Trump's second term. In a recent article, he tells The Atlantic he runs the country and the world. We'll talk to one of the reporters about his remarks and how the world is reacting. And we look at the impact staff and program cuts are having on the country's leading weather agencies as severe storms blast parts of the upper Midwest.
Wow. That's some crazy people talking about.
All right, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me $197 for car insurance. No, thank you. I got a
and we need to make sure that it's still
Trump
the,
ain't even off the plane. I gotta call
the
y'all.
currency of the world. I mean, it's the world currency, so let's keep it at that.
Absolutely. While I was on the campaign, shout out to Mike. He got into like the Bitcoin and things like that. Nodi is it's called Nodi. Check it out if y'all have a chance. But
absolutely golden time for cryptocurrency. I know there was like the conference in Nashville, Tennessee about a year ago, and if everyone has a chance to review some of the notes and the video from like the cryptocurrency conference in Nashville, Tennessee, you'll learn a lot more about cryptocurrency if you're unsure. And I'd say a lot of potential American, investors would actually, invest in cryptocurrency after watching the video and the replay.
Yeah, it's really important to educate people on cryptocurrency because people may be hesitant to get involved, but because they just don't understand it. So watching something like that would be very important for educational purposes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wholeheartedly ask everyone to continue supporting President Trump. During like the last campaign with Kamala Harris, they saw like a drastic drop in the stock crash, but with the current tariffs,
bro, don't nobody want to hear all that.
Going back up.
Hey, JK, I appreciate you topping in for the stream too, bro.
Doing deals with us.
Appreciate everybody who tapped in today. We had over 2,000 people tap in so far. I appreciate y'all.
Going down, and the American dream is
we
very
try to
much
be more consistent
for a
with
lot
this.
of Gen Z, millennials like us, and it's
Bruh,
a very exciting
you don't relate
time.
to nobody, bro. Get off my damn screen. Get off my stream, bro. Let's see what these Republicans talking about over here.
To work with the president and his team and our colleagues and counterparts in the House of Representatives to see those things be made a reality. Senator Brasso.
Well, for the last 100 days, Republicans in Congress and the President of the United States have been working together fighting for the American people. We all ran for office promising safety and prosperity for the folks of this great country. And we have a lot of work to do to fix the failures of the last 4 years of the Biden administration, to get our country back on track. Start with the border. You can see dramatic increases in the efforts to stem the flow of illegal immigrants from over 7,000 a day under Biden to now 7,000 a month under Trump. Making the border secure means we are making our communities safe.
I think. Did he misspeak?
In terms of prices, you're seeing 50 different actions by Republicans on energy to make energy more affordable, specifically American energy. We're making it easier to produce energy right here. That's the record of 100 days of the Trump Republican administration. There's still more work to be done. We still need to do the good work of blocking the $4 trillion tax increase that the Democrats want upon the American people. We're going to do everything we can to stop it. There's more work to be done and another 100 days coming to get that work done.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, we're all talking about the 100 days of the Trump administration, as you all are all writing about that as well. And I think Senator Thune actually brought this, but I brought a little chart that shows you the blue lines are the numbers of encounters under the Biden administration. The red lines in the first 3 months are the a number of encounters under the Trump administration.
What am I lunch
I
check?
think nothing spells success more than one of the biggest issues during the campaign, which was border security, which also leads to security in our communities and security not just within the country, but around the world. And so I say congratulations to President Trump. He said all along that he could do this, he would do this, and he would be effective. President Biden, on the other hand, said, I can't do anything. I can't do anything if the Congress doesn't act. It's beyond my responsibilities. This chart shows you that those were empty words. And so as we move to the next 200 days, I think it's through the checkpoints, the ones that are the gotaways, which never get caught, are down 99%. There's deterrence that the president has put forward through his policies, and that's what's causing these numbers to come dramatically down with the support of us as the Senate and over in the House as well.
Senator Lincoln.
So we're 100 days into the presidency, but that also has included 100 days of work for this Senate. We actually started before the president was sworn in, obviously, as we were sworn in on the 3rd of January, but passing the Laken Riley Act, doing a record number of nominations. We've done more nominations than under the first Trump administration, the Biden administration, or you go all the way back to the Bush administration. It's been 25 years since we've moved as many nominations as fast as we've been able to move. So we've been here weekends, as this group knows extremely well. We've been here very late at night multiple times to be able to work through the process because we are determined to be able to get things done for the American people. So that's involved dealing with energy permitting issues, which we've done over and over again to open up American energy. That is working through the process with the president on trying to be able to limit illegal immigration coming across our border, to secure our border, and to be able to deal with criminal aliens. We are a Senate determined to be able to get things done for the people in my state in Oklahoma and for our nation. And we've got a lot to get done, as this group knows extremely well because you've watched it. We are very determined on the budget aspects to dramatically reduce federal spending, to start knocking down $2 trillion worth of overspending that is still left over from the COVID time period, to be able to get that spending down, and to be able to make sure that we have a predictable low tax rate for the American people so we can continue to...
Hey, again, JKL Pop, I appreciate the comments on the YouTube stream, man.
Set up in the first 100 days to be able to be successful, starting
got some more content later. I got a new one
as
I'm
the House
dropping.
and the Senate work together with the president to be able to get this done.
Today.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Can you characterize the difference in the response from congressional Republicans to President Trump this time around compared to 2017? They seemed a little skeptical of him in 2017. That's not the case now.
Well, I mean, I think we all watched what happened in November and the mandate he got from the American people. It was clear, it was decisive, and he had a clear message that he campaigned on, and he has been following through and delivering on that. And I think a lot of us who served with him in the last term also saw the effects and the results of a lot of the decisions that he made with respect to policy. And they were the right ones. And in the end, he was proven right when it came to the economy. It comes to the border, comes to national security. This is a president who has a clear vision of what he wants to accomplish on behalf of the American people, and I think he implemented that clearly in his first term. And as we begin the first 100 days of this term, I think all of us believe that we want to be good partners in making sure that the agenda that he campaigned on, and which the American people voted for, is accomplished and delivered on.
Man, that sounds good.
Numbers are underwater, that he is the least popular president in 7 decades at this point in his presidency. Is it time for the administration to change course when it comes to the economy?
Well, I think the numbers on the economy, as you point out, may be related with some respects to the policy discussion that's being held about tariffs. But if you look at overall the things that this president and we are going to work with him to achieve, whether it's lessening the regulatory burden, creating energy dominance, preventing the $4 trillion tax increase coming at the end of the year that Senator Barrasso talked about, or reducing federal spending and making the government more efficient, more economical, and a better...
Appreciate everybody tapping in, TikTok,
and
Twitch.
I think his policy decisions are the right ones.
All over the gifts. So we got some diamonds over here and some roses, man. Appreciate the love.
And he will, like he did
Everybody tapping in today, man.
Do some things for the economy that created economic conditions we hadn't seen in decades.
We're waiting on Trump to go live, and I just ordered my Cuban sandwich. We're going to see where it's at, chat. They say it's going to be 30 minutes. I could get up and go get it, but Uber Eats going to do it for me. And I guess hopefully they can be a sponsor one of these days for what it is. But, we're going to tap in.
Folks at Amazon will have to have with the White House, with the president. I think at the end of the day, again, this administration is going to be judged by the results that they get. And if, in fact, they get better trade deals that change the way that other countries have mistreated us or treated us unfairly through the years, people will view it as a success.
Trump said yesterday that he want to make enough money off these tariffs. Hold on, let me turn bro down.
And you're going to have inflation. It will be under control. But I understand, the short-term conclusions of people.
Trump said he want to have enough tariffs coming in to where we don't even have to tax anymore. Imagine that shit.
Outcome in mind, you've got to have some patience to get there. And I think that the discussion that they're having with Amazon is something that will be a discussion between the administration and the company leadership. But I don't for a minute believe that this administration isn't making
It's all suits, man.
decisions that lead us to the
He's saying nothing.
they're going to make the American
Respectfully,
more safe,
the senator's saying nothing because it's a gotcha question from the press. It's basically saying, all right, cool. What about the economy? His numbers are down. We're having rallies in certain communities and people getting ran out by your own Republicans. Right? It's happening here in Florida. I told y'all earlier, if you missed it, DeSantis is going through hell for diverting money to his wife's nonprofit. Medicaid dollars, right? Poor people money. But, well, not poor people, but y'all know Medicaid. Either way, there's a lot of Republican boiling right now because how are you supposed to go to your district and talk about the achievements of this administration, how beneficial it's been if you know that your portfolio, your 401k has been cut, savings is down, or your spending's up, and even though groceries are down, others costs is like damn. And you can even look at Buddy back here. Look at the way he's looking at him, regardless of what he's saying right now. His face is saying, bruh, if you don't get off the mic because you're saying too damn much right now. You can just facial expressions in politics tell you everything. Buddy's talking, he's like, hey, bruh, yeah, keep whatever you said. I don't give a shit.
previous legislation and the one that you noted. And
he's waiting for him to stop talking.
As we get further into these discussions, we will come up with a plan that gets us to 18 in the House, 50 votes in the Senate.
He's whispering to him too. You see the politics?
But
all these coughs and shit. There's messages like, hey, bruh.
Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and make sure that we have the right incentives in place for American energy production. And whether that's in the renewable space, the conventional space, I think most of us up here agree that an all of the above energy strategy when it comes to
Bruh has not even blinked for real. He is locked into his damn ball spot. If he got a cul-de-sac in the back, he's counting every damn hair follicle on the back of his head right now.
Provisions that are in place today, but at the end of the day, it's about making America not only energy independent but energy dominant.
All right, see, yeah, they've been waiting for this press conference to end. Like, bruh, how much longer you gonna talk? Because all you're doing is opening up for more questions that we don't want to answer right now. And I got lunch to go. I got a Cuban sandwich, Uber Eats. Yeah, I see a brother. I see one brother back there. More brothers coming in this picture. Okay, more brothers. Okay, must be security. Is Trump live yet? Did Trump get off Air Force One? Chat.
Herr Schmidt hat ein neues Auto?
Hab ich von Auto Hero!
So viel Auto.
We're still waiting on good old President Trump to get off Air Force One. I mean, if you're passing, it's not happening. I'm waiting on legislative session there. I'm actually gonna open up a window, prep that because I want to know what's happening in our Florida legislature too. A lot of y'all may not know what's happening in Florida. It's okay. Y'all want to worry about national politics. That's all right.
Except that they follow in the same manner and subject to the same requirements as any.
Uh-oh, my food's on the way, chat.
Speaker. And members, I just wanted to point out something that wouldn't occur to us intuitively with this bill. This is a very good bill because it will increase the amount of time during which someone who may be suffering from substance abuse problems will be held accountable. This will provide increasing leverage for those who are in charge of the treatment of these people who are suffering. So although you wouldn't first recognize it, this bill will actually save lives, and I encourage your favorable support.
Misunderstands the nature and terms of his Article 2 powers. Specifically, when Article 2, Section 3 says that the president shall take care
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
faithfully execute
I am playing the
laws
lottery
passed by
today, y'all.
Congress. Does this president think that the
Rizzo
word
and
execute
Two Bernie.
means
Oh
that
my
he's
God,
supposed
I'm
to
sorry.
kill
Rep
laws
Jocks
rather than
bills.
carry them out?
Playing the lotto.
Unfortunately, the underlying
Great job
rationale
on this
for
bill,
much of
Rep.
this action
Jocks,
is a
but-
radical theory set forth in Project 2025 and elsewhere. It's one that would vest federal power in a unitary executive, sidelining two of the three co-equal branches of our government, Congress and the judiciary. We're here because Republicans who control the House and Senate have, thus far, chosen to abandon their constitutional
I want to see what this Jim Jordan piece is.
control executive branch. If they don't see anything wrong with it, their constituents do. And more of our colleagues would know that if they actually showed up at town halls in their districts.
Oh, I'll tell you, I mentioned this earlier.
Our Constitution is built upon the rule of law, that no one is above the law, and our legal system is built on the idea of judicial independence. In the past 2 months, we've seen our judicial system working as the founders intended. And as the Supreme Court ruled in Madison versus Marbury over 200 years ago, it's the job of our judiciary to declare laws and executive actions unconstitutional if they're in conflict with the Constitution.
See, I don't even know what they're talking about today.
Ruled against President Trump's unlawful power grabs are simply interpreting.
I just don't want to hear the talking points, to be real. I want to sit here and talk about some news, but I don't want to sit here and talk about some nonsense. Like, y'all just talking about nonsense right now. Absolute nonsense. And I hate to jump around because I like to have one set news station and then, go critique and, content up from there. But
President Trump, plenty of runway, as I indicated earlier, to at least try to reshore manufacturing in this country, get things like pharmaceuticals made in the United States that currently are not. But they all were read in, all had a very defined opinion about tariffs. That I thought I would have to sort of prepare them to talk about. Oh, no. They ran out of the gates.
Huh. Is it possible to sum up the first 100 days in a sentence? And if so, what would that sentence be?
Wrecking ball, which is something that they use. The Trump White House, they like to say that they are changing fundamentally the structures of the economy, the federal bureaucracy, and the presidency's relationship to Congress and every other institution. That's their intent. They're well on their way to achieving that. Whether that's an achievement or not, history will let us know.
Yeah, history gonna let us know for real. Oh, guess what, chat?
Decides that airs 5 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, guess what, chat? Hold on, chat. I'm excited. Hold on. I gotta go full face on this. Chat. I gotta listen. I want to thank y'all because I just hit my first milestone for real. We have 500 subs. I want to thank y'all. Clap it up. I don't have my stream deck all the way set up yet. Clap it up. I want to appreciate y'all. Just found out we hit 500. We're almost to the goal. 1,000 subs. So if you're here right now, if you're on the channel, if you're on TikTok, if you're on Twitch, if you're on Kick, if you're on YouTube, vertical or horizontal, streaming twice on YouTube right now, subscribe to your boy's channel, please. I'm trying to help build a community of people who not only engage in politics, but, also let's flip back. We're going to talk about this rally. Listen, love y'all. I love y'all for being here with your boy as we hit 500. Because guess what? I had this channel. It only had about 20 or 30 dormant. And in October, I posted a video that did kind of good. I had some others that did kind of good. I'm like, you know what? I think I could do this thing. But then I have clients. I'm a professional lobbyist. And I'm also trying to be like, you know what? How can you discuss politics and be real in politics? Because I'm trying to be transparent as I am. And not put your clients in a bad position. Right? I don't want Governor DeSantis mad at my people, but I want to say some shit about what he's doing with Hope Florida. I want to post more content, but, be me and be authentically out there. You know what I'm saying? But we just hit 500. And if you don't know, that means that we're almost to our goal being monetized. Because if we can quit politics and be a YouTuber, whoever's running for president next got to come through us. Not me, us, our community. Because we're going to make sure that we elect whoever we want next time. But either way, let's get back to it. I want to just say thank you. I just realized we hit 500. I'm very excited for that because it's organic. All organic. Let's get back to this, though. Can y'all hear it? Oh, I'm mute. I turned them down, didn't I? Turn me down.
Complete it and assemble it here, you're paying a tariff. If you're in need of auto parts that are made maybe in Canada.
Is it true Hillary Biden and Obama, the whistleblower from the CIA, you heard anything about? Randy, I don't know anything about that, brother.
Things like steel and aluminum.
I don't know anything about that. But I appreciate you tapping in for real.
For those automobiles.
And guess what? Uber just let me know, chat. The food's on the way, chat. So we're going to have lunch. We haven't ate all day. I'm about to get some water. So I'm going to turn my camera off. And I'm going to let y'all finish. And we're going to wait for Trump to get in. I was going to wait for Trump to get here, but I got to take a smoke break, a bathroom break for what it is. But Randy, anybody, share the stream. Let the people know that we're going to wait for the Trump rally because our people that we were watching on the other side were on the other side of this sign in Warren, Michigan.
taking
All right.
action a lot easier than
So
others because
they're in Warren, Michigan. We're going to wait for the Trump rally. We're going to be here streaming throughout the Trump rally. We're going to see what President Trump has to say. I don't know if my man Byron Donalds will be there. We'll see. All right. Hold on. My girl pregnant?
That vehicle tariff and the auto parts, the only thing that's
We'll see. We've hit over 3,000 views here as well. Please make sure if it's first time here, I'm a hip hop lobbyist, professional lobbyist in Florida. I said I want to take a break. I haven't taken a break yet, but we're here, man. We're tapping in.
Psychological relief, if you will.
Oh, your boy just jumped in the gate. He looked like he couldn't. He jumped on down. You can't walk, man. Your steps.
Okay, Ed O'Keefe, thank you. We're going to take a short break. Stay with us as we look back at the.
All right, I see. I got to subscribe to CBS News. Now, let me go find the other one. Oh, we got a Trump rally live here. Let's see what these people are doing. Adam. Let's see what the people are doing over here on Adam's stream.
Granddaughter would give him an F minus.
Is she a teacher?
She's a 7-year-old.
Okay.
She's smarter than a lot of people.
Interesting. So, what issues do you guys care most about over the past 100 days? What's really been on the top of your mind? Is it due process or tariffs?
Oh, due process is at the top of it, I think.
And our courts.
Yeah.
You know, and him just destroying the our laws and everything. And it's like, oh, no. And then also just, women's rights and all of the diversity is being just torn apart and these people come to our country expecting to pitch in and be a part of our country. And then what do? We send them to El Salvador.
Yeah.
What the heck?
That's not who we are.
It's not.
We've never been this kind of a country. This is
Never.
what my dad fought for in World War II.
My dad too.
And he would be just utterly disgusted in this.
Your dad's fought for freedom in World War II, you're saying, and this is the opposite of freedom, right?
Absolutely. And he's trashing all of our allies, and he's making buddies with our enemies.
Yeah, honestly, this is.
See, you see, it's all talking points though. Like, I don't mean to cut buddy off. I know you're gonna ask him a good question, but have y'all ever sat back and realized, like, damn, everybody's saying the same shit. The conservatives are saying the same shit. The lady you saw, Sally Jesse Raphael earlier, big hair Roseanne, talk about her family came over from Italy. They had to go quarantine in Ellis Island. They came over here. They did it the right way, right? And it's like, damn, MS-13, killing our children, these immigrants taking our jobs. That's what they believe. You get it. And on the other side, diversity, equity, inclusion. I don't see a nigga out there. It's cold in the D. I don't see a nigga from Flint out there with y'all holding a sign. Are they even welcome in that part of Michigan? But either way, you talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, what he's doing. Your father done served World War II. The other people said there wasn't no people out there. You notice that, right? If y'all paid attention, the other stream said that there was nobody out there rallying and protesting. It's just nothing but Trump supporters. But this guy's out here. Luckily, we can get some content from it. And this is a fight that I told people in 2020. It's like, bro, this ain't our fight, bro. This DEI shit ain't not a black fight. Don't take everything Trump say. Saquon go sit with this man. All this is racist. No, I'm not saying all that. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he is. But what I'm saying is, it's the same shit both sides are saying. What are the Republicans saying that's new? Nothing. What are the Democrats saying that's new? Nothing. You realize, maybe I'm ignorant here. I'm born in 85. I'll be 40 this year, right? But I done seen this shit enough already. Education, healthcare, jobs. That's all. I bit my tongue. Oh, shit. Oh. Ooh, that shit hurt. That shit hurt. I need to cut my teeth. That made damn near cut my tongue. Education, healthcare, jobs. That's what Clinton campaigned on. That's all people talk about. Tax breaks, Christian, conservative values, Second Amendment rights, freedom of speech. There's been a fight my whole life. They've been talking about the same shit, right? And the people don't even have, you're out here rallying, you're protesting. This is why, the black people said they stopped protesting at one of the rallies, right? The people realize y'all don't took no justice, no peace and made that shit about everything. What are we talking about? Trump didn't do shit that y'all have been doing both sides of the aisle, because the second y'all get in power, you lily white ass liberal motherfuckers, y'all talking about the environment. and everything else, and you put everybody, this diversity, equity, inclusion shit, none of that shit matters. None of that shit matters. Because you know what happens? I'm going to tell you what the lady told me. Back when Kentucky, I think, passed that amendment last year before the election type shit about a boy, oh, you know, it's about black women. This is white, lily white, liberal women telling me about the abortion rate and black women and how it's killing black babies. And bitch, what? My wife done had a baby. We done got past the fibroids. We done got past the C-section. We're on to another stage. Now, I know a lot of other people have more babies than us. That's okay. Fuck. Do you? You gotta feed them, right? What you eat don't make me shit. Isn't that what Jay-Z said? But you're not moving the needle with people when they growing. Think about it like this. Let me put it like this. If T.I. was still rapping about trap music and being a rubber band man and never grew into being a father, being an entrepreneur, having the trap museum, y'all would be like, damn, he a one-hit wonder. Baby D? Like that's what I'm saying. You gotta grow. So instead of the Democrats growing, they saying the same shit. You know what? We're gonna go to the Trump rally on 100 days and we're gonna march and protest and we're gonna rally the people and they gonna see that we were out there and we don't support this shit. These people are going to work because they got a fucking past due bill. They don't give a shit about this. They know that Trump is in. They know that this shit doesn't happen. Doge done came in. Elon done came and fucked it up. Listen, I got the fuck Trump sign. Yeah. I'm out here. Got my fuck Trump sign. You done spent money. You know how much money is in that shit? Think about it. If we go chat. Let's be real. If we gonna make some fuck Trump nail you and post it out there, right? There may not be enough liberals out there to actually go buy the shit. There may not be enough people because guess what? They're going to be like, damn, am I going to spend $25, $50 on this flag? Or am I going to get a box of pull-ups? Because, bitch, my baby needs some pull-ups. My son is potty trained now. Those are extra boxes, actually papers in there. But I needed something in the background just to keep y'all attention, right? Either way, I want to hear what these people got to say. I've been talking a little bit, and I'm waiting on my food, and I'm hungry.
Oh, yes.
You would expel him? Yeah. Would you have a sit-down talk with his parents to tell him to stop being such an asshole?
I think I'd have to call the police in. They do
We
press
chatting,
criminal charges in high school. I'm just saying.
Bad wrong
I
stream.
think he needs to, well, he probably did not learn basic kindergarten manners because he was an unruly kid. His parents didn't know what to do with him. And I think they just let him do whatever he wanted. And that's how he is as an adult. He does whatever he
I'm gonna
wants.
refresh the chat, see what I'm missing out on.
Like his
Appreciate
narcissism
y'all
just bleeds
tapping in
through
too,
every
man.
aspect.
He does have a personality disorder, for sure. He does. I mean, you can't get where he wants.
Even his supporters, I think, would admit that he has some sort of personality disorder. It's insane.
But they like it for some reason.
They like it. So all of them were like justifying the tariffs.
What you
One
did
person
was
was
make
like,
it incoherent.
nobody's ever tried tariffs like this before. He asked me, he was like, has anyone ever tried tariffs like this? I said, well, 100 years ago, there was a Smoot-Hawley Act that kind of nuked the entire economy. So one person has tried it. And yeah, let me ask you, what issues are most important to you all as women in America?
Well, regardless of being a woman or a man, my biggest issue is the death camps they're setting up in El Salvador.
And CCOT?
Yeah, I'm
That's
over
it.
that.
Think about that.
Oh, same thing. I'm worried about due process and that they're able to go in the middle of the night and with plain clothes and take people away. People who don't even know that they're missing because they were here. They came here alone.
You're right.
They're working, but
Hey, look, Karen, I want to know, what about the black kid in Chicago, in West Palm Beach, in Atlanta, in damn Dallas that can't read in first or second grade? All right. What about them? Because all of a sudden, you passionate about some motherfuckers in El Salvador that supposed MS-13 gang members, right? But you have problems here in America that you could solve. But you would rather rally to have a dissent for people in their due process. What about that child's due process knowing that he's living with a generational curse, his parents working 2 or 3 jobs, and he can't do shit about it? Are you gonna give a shit about them to go help them? No, you worried about a motherfucker getting deported to El Salvador when they shouldn't have probably have been here in the first place. That's the fucking problem. These liberals, they be on some other, it's the new pain. It's like the new crack. These motherfuckers just chasing the damn pain. It's poverty pimping. Because 6 months ago, wasn't nobody worried about the prison they was building in El Salvador and what Trump said he was going to do when the shit was going to happen. Right? You think Trump all of a sudden set this shit up out the blue like this shit wasn't already lined up politically? It was going to happen one way or another. Motherfucker ain't building no $300 million jail just to be like, hey, we ain't got enough people to put in here, so who want to send us your prisoners? This lady mad because they're taking people to El Salvador. But you're not worried about kids in your neighborhood, in your state, that can't read. That's the problem, man. That's the disconnect these liberals have with everybody else. Cause it's like, damn, I'm not saying my kid's only 3. He's reading pretty well for his age. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to belittle my man. He's doing what he's got to do. He loves to read a book every night, but that's what we're doing. But don't retract your message. Put it back in the chat. But it's a fact of saying, you're going to El Salvador getting deported and the people in your own fucking community. Do you know there's some little white ass kid who can't read either? Not just black kids. There's some poor white kids who can't read. Why are you not worried about them? Where's your passion for them? That's the issue I have. Where's this Trump rally? Let's refresh your buddies. Y'all want to, who else you got? Let me hear some more of these liberals out here in these streets, man. I get tired of them. Because they're so blind and dumb. They're just as dumb as the other side. It's just 2 sets of damn dumb people. Go back to the CBS chat. Hey, man.
If you love binge watching and you hate being interrupted by ads, you need Pi. It's a free browser
It's
extension
just, it's frustrating, chat.
sites. You just install it once and then like that,
Trump
you
rally.
enjoy internet with podcasts.
Did he land yet, man?
Financing, a simple no obligation call could change all of that and everything for you. They have a team of salary-based mortgage consultants, so there isn't any incentive to put you into a loan that does not make sense. And there are no upfront fees on top of that. This is the company to go with. So don't delay. Call today, 888-402-0299, 888-402-0299.
What you did was make it go ahead.
AmericanFinancing.net/RSBN. AmericanFinancing.net/RSBN. Truly your go-to to save this great country. And it's all about promises made, promises kept in the last 100 days.
I'm not trying to hear all that. Where is the rally? I'm not trying to hear from the other motherfucker. He's still in Maryland. No lie, my cousin used to be one of the Army, not pilots, but I guess security guards. He used to watch over the hangar that carries Air Force One and Air Force Two and all the stuff in military bases in Andrews Base. So, salute to my cousin Stephen, doing what he had to do for our country, serving. Ishmael Lopez, appreciate you tapping in the stream. Is it Ishmael or Ishmael? The food not here yet, bro. Like, where is my? Let's see what new news we got, man. Cause fuck. The Democrats talking about on 100 days.
And the emerging threats as it relates to supply chain.
There's no H in my name. You're right.
We did address it. It was done in the last Congress, and as a result, that.
I don't know why I thought it said Ishmael. My bad.
When it comes to tariffs, I've looked at maps with arrows that show the negative impact, and no arrow is bigger than the state of New York. I live less than 100 miles from the.
My apologies.
My mother grew up in
Ismail, Mr. Lopez, Brother Lopez.
From the Canadian border. But you don't have to be 5 miles from the border to see the impact that already exists. Tariffs are necessary tools that can be used for national security, for protecting hardworking Americans and their jobs, and to grow that.
I'll be back.
The current administration's approach lacks strategy and nuance, fails to recognize beneficial relationships between our friends, our allies.
It's truck month here at Ron Anderson Chevrolet Buick GMC, and the deals are, well, huge. For the next 15 days, our trucks are marked down and priced to sell fast. These deals are driving off quick, so don't miss your chance to lock in our lowest pricing of the month. Come test drive the all-new 2025 GMC Sierra 1500. Get 0.9% APR or $78.50 off. Or come on down and take a test drive in the brand new 2025 Chevrolet Silverado 1500. Great deals with 2.9% APR for 72 months. These deals are so huge, even I can't begin to...
Did someone say huge?
Hey, it's the big show! With this guy in town, I know we can give you the best deal. With over 100 vehicles in stock, now's the time to find that vehicle of your dreams here at Ron Anderson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Our Truck Month event ends May 2nd. Call now or shop online anytime at www.ronandersonchevy.com.
Hi, I'm Brett.
And I'm Jonathan.
This is Darla.
And this is Buddy.
We're the founders of the Farmer's Dog.
We've made an entirely new way to feed your dog.
It all started with my first dog, Jada. I got Jada in my early 20s. It was just love at first sight. She was the most adorable, smart dog, but her stomach was just constantly a problem. Nothing seemed to help her until a vet recommended that I started home cooking for her.
All of her issues went away. Her life changed. So Brett started going down this journey of looking into what is dog food? How is it made?
Kibble can be made with ingredients that would be illegal to sell to a human for consumption, then turned into a powder using extreme heat, extruded into the brown balls we all know, and then sprayed with nutrients and palatants so the dogs will actually eat it.
We were told kibble was the best thing you could feed your dog.
Premium meat for a natural diet.
Turns out, it wasn't. We were told all the food was real meat and vegetables. That's also not true.
I think we all know as human beings that eating highly processed food every single meal, every single day of our lives is not ideal for our health. But pet food being highly processed was just the status quo.
So we decided, let's change it. Let's take the decades of pet food research and the understanding of what nutrients dogs need, use that, but avoid the excess processing. I think the question was, how do we make food that's fresh, healthy, and convenient, but do it for every dog across the country? That was like a tough challenge. So we thought we really need to get somebody who knows dog nutrition.
We had watched a seminar with Dr. Wachschlag, and I said to Jonathan, I was like, we need to get a guy like him.
I was like, okay, I'll call him.
To be honest with you, Jonathan called, and then he called again. He just said, you guys have an interesting idea, something that's revolutionary in the dog food world, and if you can pull this off, you'll have a whole new way of feeding dogs.
We ask a few questions about your dog, and we develop a personalized meal plan with the right amount of calories to keep them at a healthy weight. When our customers know that we don't look at them as just a number, we know their name, we know their dog's name, we genuinely care about their dog.
We start with meat and vegetables, gently cook them, and add all the nutrients dogs need for a complete and balanced diet. Every package of food is inspected and goes through a number of different quality controls and tests. And it's all human grade, which means it's made to the same safety standards as human food. Then we put it in a box, add the ice, and deliver it right to your door.
It's all done for you. From the moment you order your first box, you have an advocate for your dog on your side.
It's not about what we do to the food. It's about what we don't do that's creating these incredible health outcomes in so many dogs.
What started with just Jada ended up going from 1 dog to 8 dogs, to then 100 dogs, and now millions.
I just feel so lucky that Jada's legacy gets to live on in Darla and in other households all across the country.
We really believe that everybody wants to take care of their dog in the best way that they can. Our mission is just to help them do that. This is the best. I can't move now.
And our business partners like Canada. In Central New York and the Mohawk Valley, we rely heavily on trade with Canada for both imports and exports. Sometimes a product's production crosses the border multiple times, sometimes within the same company, and still tariffs would be imposed on those pre-manufactured products. Materials come from Canada, and our products go to Canada. We have multiple industries that are being impacted in agriculture, lumber, metal production, as I mentioned, our building materials for an important plant that is coming into my district. There are double and triple tariffs that are hurting the bottom line. They're hurting jobs. Contracts are being canceled. Contracts are not moving forward in the negotiation process. Costs are being driven up. It makes absolutely 0 sense. So we have to get this right. The relationship between my district and Canada is so intricate, and it goes beyond just commerce. Canadians are our friends. They're often our family members. As I said, they're our business partners. And what newly elected Canadian Prime Minister Carney made remarks last night, and he called this the American betrayal. To hear stories of Canadians taking American products and turning them over so as to easily identify that product as American made is unbelievable. Something that I would not imagine in our lifetime. And it is an unnecessary act because of the unnecessary acts that have come out of this administration. The Prime Minister pledged to find new relationships and new agreements with reliable trade partners outside of the United States of America. And I do agree that describing this situation as a tragedy is accurate. My conversations with New York farmers, including dairy producers, owners of apple orchards, maple syrup producers, and other industries like lumber, the interconnectedness between New York State's economy and Canada is vital to our collective success. Items like fertilizer, potash, these come from Canada. 90% of our potassium, not just in central New York, but all across this country, comes from Canada. So we must use precision when it comes to our trade policy. Tariffs are basically a tax on American consumers and businesses, continues to drive up costs for essential items like groceries, fuel, agricultural supplies. Where I'm from, in central New York, we want policies that reflect the realities of our interconnected economy with our friend and ally, Canada. America, the people of New York 22, our farmers, we all need policies that make sense, not a whipsaw, on again, off again tariff game that this current administration is playing. It's reckless. The impact will be massive. There will be waves of negative impact on multiple sectors of our economy. And that means it's going to hurt hardworking Americans. It's going to hurt small businesses. We must restore our standing as a reliable trade partner, not just with Canada, but with our other allies and trade partners around the world. Simply, we are hurting consumers. We're hurting Americans. We're hurting businesses because of a lack of a cohesive strategy. We need to be more thoughtful. We need to be more targeted. We need to strengthen our economy without placing undue burdens on hardworking Americans. So I ask that we have sanity to our trade policy and that we restore our country's standing around the world, not just as a reliable trade partner, but as the beacon of democracy around the world. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and with that, I'll pass along the microphone to my colleague, Representative April McLean Delaney.
My name is Louise. I've been with United Healthcare for 2 years now. I've been playing tennis since I was 17, and would you believe that around my 40s or 50s, a nurse actually told me that my body seems to be 20 years younger. I do believe in insurance because you never know what's going to happen, but all my life, I've never had to use it for a major health issue. But last year, the big health issue occurred for me. On January 2nd this year was the news. I have the gastric lymphoma. So I knew right away that that's serious. And that's when I started thinking also about the insurance. I had a nice, simple insurance last year, but I knew that I have to change it by January 15th so that I could save myself financially this year. My United Healthcare agent, Eric, really helped out right away. Eric knew exactly what my situation was, and I trusted him when he said, this is what you would need, and he gave me some numbers. It saved me time and money. It's just a phone call, and he handles things. So I didn't have to worry about that part. I focused on what needed to be done on the treatment. The insurance part was really a godsend that it's not going to be financially trouble for me. My United Healthcare agent did the extra mile to help me get through this.
District of Maryland, and when elected, made a commitment to my constituents to seek common sense, common ground solutions. Sadly, the past 100 days, I've desperately been trying to find either common sense or common ground, and in fact, the chaos that has ensued has hurt everyone within my district. My district is as economically diverse as any district in the country. It starts not far from here in Montgomery County, where NIH researchers are curing cancer, and NIST employees are establishing parameters for AI innovation. And it goes all the way to beautiful Mountain and Western Maryland, where family farms are providing their bounty to our community, and it borders West Virginia and Pennsylvania. In my district, no one has escaped the harmful impact of Trump tariffs and isolation policy, or his indiscriminate cuts to federal workers. I represent over 35,000 federal workers at agencies such as NIH, the National Institute of Cancer, NIST,
I'm back, y'all.
and Fort Detrick.
My bad.
Farmers are very concerned about
Food finally came, and your boy was hungry. We're gonna cut off there. I found. Oh. Hold on. Woo. That food hit me. That food was hitting. Get to this happening now on the Hill.
The Congressional Gold Medal is the highest honor this body can bestow. It's reserved for those whose courage and service shaped our country and our nation's story. It's in this spirit that we gather to award this medal to the 688. I knew y'all were going to correct me. It's 6,888. Okay, but we call it the 6888. Okay.
There we go. 6888. Let's go. A speaker. This won't make the news.
We try to be precise. This battalion was the first and the only unit of African American women to serve overseas during World War II. Yeah.
This won't make the headlines about DEI and Republicans.
Tens of thousands of Allied forces made their final push across Europe. The mail system was stretched thin from scarce resources. It was crippling under the weight of wartime logistics. Then, just as today, letters of home were very, very important. They were lifelines that grounded the soldiers. They reminded our brave heroes of all they were fighting for that was actually waiting back at home. Morale reports during the war underscored just how important mail was to the soldier's spirit. So much so that the phrase, "no mail, low morale," became widespread. It was later adopted by the Army as the official motto of the 6AAA. Yet, for all the importance of mail, millions of undelivered letters piled up in dark warehouses across Europe. And those letters might well have stayed there, were it not for the work of the women that we celebrate today.
Come on, talk about it, Speaker. And Chad, this is. Oh wait.
Under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams Early, the battalion. All right. Parenthetically, I just want to note she sounds like a Marvel hero. That name is so awesome. Charity Adams Early. The battalion deployed to England and got to work on the backlog. They worked in 3 shifts around the clock, day in and day out, to sort through the literal mountains of mail that had accumulated. All while navigating troop movements that turned on a dime, incomplete addresses, illegible writing, and thousands of soldiers who shared the same name. Listen to this. This is just one example, okay? My name's Mike Johnson, right? At this time, I know, it's sad. At this time, Michael was the 9th most popular name, and Johnson was one of the top 5 surnames. So my staff did the math. They said, "Sir, it's pretty safe to assume that roughly 30,000 Mike Johnsons served in World War II.
Wow.
And that's enough to fill Fenway Park, okay? Now just imagine the challenge that these ladies had. They were trying to get the right letter to the right soldier, and that's the kind of challenge that they faced. With great ingenuity, they maintained a tracking system of 7 million ID cards to solve the issue of soldiers sharing names. They didn't have all the high-tech gadgets that we have today.
Yeah, no AI, no chat GPT to help that.
Processing roughly 65,000 pieces of mail per shift, they cleared the entire backlog in no less than 3 months. That's right.
Let's go, ladies. Black ingenuity right there, man. That's how we make it happen, man. They're not going to put this in the press. CNN's not going to cover this.
Listen to this. By the war's end, the 6AAA had sorted over 17 million pieces of mail. They got the job done, even in the face of inadequate supplies and even in the face of discrimination, both for within the Army and back home. These women were valiant members of our greatest generation. Artists, academics, athletes, women who went on to pursue higher education,
yes,
build families, to
yes,
buy homes, and shape the very foundation of the birthday. Okay?
Go, man.
She enlisted on her 20th birthday, and she had dreams of pursuing music and teaching. We remember women like Romay Davis, who, okay? She used the GI Bill to attend.
Are you missing out on
Oh, they tripping.
Zero cost to you?
Oh, they tripping, chat.
Okay. Tough ladies.
They hit me with the ad. I had the skip button.
We also,
though.
of course, remember the incomparable Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams Early, who guided her unit. Even after earning her degree in mathematics, Latin, and physics, she returned to her studies after the war, and she said this famously, quote, "After handling 885 women, any course in college would be a cinch." We're blessed that 2 members of the 6AAA are still with us today watching from home. Mm-hmm.
Let's go, man. This is sweet, man. You don't see this part of politics because it doesn't drive the narrative of what the divisiveness they want us to have in America.
From here in the chamber, Fannie McClendon, who hails from my home state of Louisiana. All right. She went on to serve her country as a major in the Air Force. That's right. We also have Anna Mae Robertson watching at home. Okay.
Clap it up for these ladies, chat. Clap it up for these ladies, chat. Being recognized with a gold medal.
First birthday. Okay.
I missed that. My bad, chat. What did he say?
Miss Anna Mae, you got a big group here, okay? These women and the entire 6888 are great American patriots, loyal to a nation that for far too long failed to return that favor. And I'm glad to say that that's changing, and we're doing that here today. This remarkable story has rightly captured imaginations. It has now inspired books and movies, stirred the conscience of millions of Americans who are just now hearing and sharing this incredible story.
Yes.
Today, here in the People's House, we add to that story. So thank you all for being here. We are honored to host you and to celebrate these exceptional women. God bless you.
More than anything, that's the Speaker of the House recognizing, if you haven't seen the Netflix movie, actually, let me look up the name of it. I'm around here tripping. Netflix movie about black woman in WW2, World War II. The 6888. My bad, he did say it. I didn't know the name of the movie. I have seen bits and pieces of it, but that's the commemorative piece when they talk about removing DEI, all these other things. See all these black people in this room? In the cap of what we're going to do, people arguing about Saquon Barkley going to sit with the president. People arguing about all the insignificant things that don't matter. Just imagine this, the same time they're pulling you on being racist, the same time that people are talking about inequality and them taking people, like, again, these liberal lily whites, ladies, these liberal, what is it? It can hit if I just get it right. Either way, these liberal ladies are talking about the importance of the due process of people in El Salvador, immigrants that were here, maybe illegally, that were deported before they care about your kids. And the same time they're telling you, like, hey, yeah, the Republicans racist, Democrats racist, whatever, the feel-good parts that you'll go watch Netflix about, like, damn, I love Taraji P. Henson in that movie. Damn, I love that movie with, Oprah made that? Oh, she played Mary McLeod, but whatever in it. I didn't watch it. There's a part of like, damn, this is amazing. I saw the scene of the movie at least, where the bomb blew up with the soldier in it. And they talked about the remains or whatever. I kind of 30 minutes, if anything, right? I got to go back and watch it. But imagine this entire narrative is out there, but you don't even know this is happening. Because they're telling you about Trump's 100th day. On Trump's 100th day, this happens. I'm a Democrat. For anybody who may be on the fence, this is a black Republican guy talking. No. I'm cool with Byron Donalds for what it is. But I'm a Democrat. And I see through the bullshit. And what I'm seeing here is these ladies are being recognized for their impact. Talk about DEI, and they talk about stripping the monuments or the all the historical artifacts out of the Smithsonian Museum in DC. When they tell you about that, they're not telling you about the 6888 being recognized by the Florida House by Mike Johnson, the Republican from Louisiana. I'm not saying every Republican isn't racist. I'm not saying every Democrat is for us. What I'm saying is it's all a fucking game. You can't sit here and just take the hot button issues, because even when you go back to the stream earlier, you see the two ladies talking about why they're Republican, why they're Democrat, what they're fighting for, what they're passionate about. It's the same shit. When you pay attention to the entire plate, the entire menu of opportunities that make a Black life matter, whether it's healthcare, education, jobs, education, I think I said that, but K through 12, charter school, private school, public school, what you're going to do, like, you have to make a decision. I've been talking too much, though. Let's get back to it.
Gratitude. In this hallowed place where history is remembered and sacrifice honored, we pause to commemorate a long overdue recognition, the awarding of the Congressional Gold Medal to the 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion. We give thanks for the 855 courageous Black women, soldiers, sisters, daughters, mothers, and wives.
Somebody in the chat said,
with the 6888. In
Where is
1945,
Pelosi kneeling
they
down with her
crossed
tribal,
oceans and broke barriers.
her
Amid
tribal
the
rags?
devastation of war, under unimaginable conditions, cold, dark, rat-infested warehouses with bombs overhead and morale crumbling, they brought order, hope, and human connection. They sorted millions of pieces of mail, but even more profoundly, they reconnected hearts across oceans, reminding weary soldiers that they were not forgotten. From every corner of our nation they came, including proud daughters of my home state of Maryland, such as my own aunt, Vashti Turley Murphy Matthews, who alongside her sisters in arms showed the world what faith, courage, and determination could achieve when given the chance to serve. Lord, we thank you for President Joe Biden, whose signature affirmed this honor, and for the steadfast leadership of Representative Gwen Moore, Senator Jerry Moran, and Senator Jackie Rosen, whose bipartisan commitment made this historic day possible. May their example inspire, continue the families,
So does that mean
here and those carrying this legacy across generations. May this moment bring healing, affirmation, and pride. May it remind us that
so does this mean that everything I just said is out the window, chat? That, you know, Mike Johnson them ain't it because Biden signed it?
Congress and grant its members wisdom,
I don't think so.
humility, and moral
But all look kind of genuine up there,
as they
for what it
serve
is.
the
But
people of this
I ain't taking my
nation
words back.
and bless these United States of America, made stronger, richer, and more equitable because of women like those of the 688. And it's in your name that we pray, and the people of God said,
Amen. That was a good prayer. Thank you, chat. I know I lost some of y'all on that. Because she said Joe Biden signed it. I don't care. Mike Johnson there. It's a sea of black folks, and guess what? Even if the 20 people, 30 people, 50 people that are here,
Representative from the 2nd District of Kansas.
nobody else is going to see this on TV tonight besides the people in this room. They're not going to know. Unless Netflix updates the movie then.
I am so humbled to be here today for this celebration. And that's what this is a long overdue celebration for some very brave women in our history. As has been said here today, the women of the 688 deserve to be honored with the highest civilian award Congress can give. In a time of war, and in a world that questioned both their worth and their capability, this all-black, all-female battalion answered their nation's call with courage, dignity, and excellence.
See where Trump at, man. Trump in Michigan yet?
To our nation's success.
I got about 20, 30 minutes before I got to get out here and leave it home. Hopefully Trump's speaking in the next 30 minutes so that we can at least can't leave yet. Trump gets to his rally now. Trump taking forever about this chopper, man. Trying to get no dog to the rally. Uh-oh, there you go. Let's do that shit over here. Man, Trump ain't getting off that plane yet, y'all. You want to come back to him? Hey, Trump. Speaking of Michigan today, 100th day of Trump's presidency. Now, I don't know how you may feel. Let me turn this airplane noise down because we don't need to sound like or feel like we're on a plane for real. But it's 100 days in. Policy set. Everything kind of going. But how do you feel America is right now? I don't mean it in a negative sense at all. I mean more like, okay, cool. Are we exactly where we knew we would be? To where Trump will come in and put the tariffs in place and deport immigrants and make our educational system better and drain the swamp that he promised? Or has it all been a game? Have some of the Republican members not been able to go home to their communities to say what they need to say to the people to actually justify the cuts with Doge? And where is Elon? Vice President Elon Musk, I haven't seen him in a couple of days. I think Tesla's stock price, let's see what Tesla's price. They put their prices in. They put the tariff prices on there, but since Elon's been gone, that's past, let's look at 4 hours. This Tesla in December, right before Christmas, down to 286, and it could be driving up. I mean, it looks like it's in the region, hitting some resistance right here. Nice little zone. Could be some good price action in here. The next day or so could shoot up next week. Could correct. You don't know, but also, what's the other one? Amazon. Amazon, they said was down this one. The bots and the Republicans said that Amazon was down today. Let's look at the daily. Oh, that's a lot of days, or that's a whole day? That's all the day. That's where it opened up. That's where it came to, right? But it's not doing too bad from where it's been. However, we'll go. Now the president's getting on Air Force One. All right, so you know that's what's happening with the president. We're still waiting on him to get to Michigan. The Hill is. Oh, NBC is carrying it. Oh my goodness. Let's check in with the Alabama Senate. Is the Florida Senate live? The 6888 being recognized.
So it just went to a different pot. Another thing that they did.
We don't even know what's happening there. Let's go back to the Hill.
Building your online business? Go to Wix.com and set up.
I want to know if Roland Martin, Ben Crump, and them gonna recognize this tonight. I commemorate those efforts, man. That fast. My bad. something that's really popping off right now. That I don't mean to cut off from this because I do think this is very commendable. But they say UPS is cutting 20,000 jobs because of tariffs. Let's see what they're talking about here, man.
UPS, in our view, is and has been doing the things to kind of restructure its network.
I don't want to hear that.
Given all the noise,
Oh, it's the same guy?
uncertainty in the background, I think today's given all the noise of the economic.
This is the same person? What is that? I didn't want to hear about that either. Here we go.
While announcing it had a better first quarter than expected, UPS revealed it will be making some big changes. The logistics company said it will cut 20,000 jobs in an effort to lower costs.
Crazy.
It also plans to shut down 73 of its buildings by the end of June. UPS originally said it would cut 12,000 jobs, but economic uncertainty as well as an expected decrease in Amazon shipments has the company scrambling to save money. In January, UPS said it planned to slash millions of Amazon deliveries, with CEO Carol Tomei saying, "Amazon is our largest customer, but it's not our most profitable customer."
Oh, wow.
UPS says it expects to save about $3.5 billion in 2025 with the cost-cutting measures. UPS also expects to see a decrease in traffic from Chinese e-commerce platforms Temu and Shein. That forecast comes after the U.S. said it will begin collecting tariffs on goods that were, until now, duty-free up to $800. That'll do it for your daily briefing. From New York City, I'm Kelsey Barbarian.
I see it in chat now. That's interesting. Because a lot of people in the black urban hip hop culture have been buying off Shein and Temu in a result to get cheaper prices, Alibaba 2 to Amazon, right? This will be interesting. I just knew that I didn't want to get caught in the fluff. Right? Amazon drops equity. I need news, man. Amazon, UPS. There's got to be a more in-depth interview about this. Is this the one?
The structure motorized pergola system is reinventing the way
I may need that for my backyard. Chat. Chat, I need y'all to help get the stream up in the channel where we need it.
Also out with its first quarter results, the earnings and the revenue both beat expectations. UPS is not going to be giving annual guidance this year. They say it's just too difficult to try and figure it out, but they will be providing an outlook for the second quarter during its conference call that's coming a little later this morning.
Be right back.
The stock is up by about 1.5%. Joining us right now is Jonathan Chappell. He is Evercore ISI transportation analyst. And I'm sorry, Jonathan, is it Chappell or Chappell?
It's Chappell.
Chappell. Okay, thank you. Let's walk through these numbers, what they mean for UPS, and then more broadly, if we can read anything into what it means for the broader economy. First of all, it looks like they did pretty well for the for the first quarter. For the second quarter, we're waiting to hear the guidance. What do you think overall?
Right, so it was a little bit of a surprise to the upside for the first quarter results. Most of it came from the top line in the U.S. domestic business. It had to be a volume beat because revenue per piece, which is a proxy for yield, came in a little bit below expectations and a little bit below the guide. Margins were slightly better in U.S. domestic, but overall, core operating income, adjusted for all the charges, was about a $28 million beat to the street. That's only about a third of the upside to EPS. So a lot of it came from below the line, from a lower tax rate. So, how do we filter that then into 2Q or even the rest of the year with the guidance effectively pulled? I think the uncertainty plays a massive role here. January was better than expected from a volume perspective. I think we saw a big shift down in demand in February as some of the uncertainty started to come to the fore. And then March was probably, just as uncertain. So, from all the other companies we've had across the transport world, railroads, truckers, whether it's TL or LTL or intermodal, it sounds like April was very soft as well. So, again, we can't really say what they're going to talk about 2Q, but it feels like from a volume and a revenue perspective, uncertainty and shipper paralysis is probably a bigger risk than any cost upside that they may provide from their network.
Okay, they are talking about how they're going to cut 20,000 jobs because of these economic worries. They're going to be closing 73 leased and owned buildings by the end of June. They're looking for more buildings, potentially for additional closures on this, and they're continuing to evaluate the impact of whatever the changes in volumes are on their air network. So are those the moves you'd like to see management making?
Well, they're the necessary moves. And remember, it's not just about tariff uncertainty. Back in January, they announced that their largest customer, which is Amazon, was going to take more than 50% of their business off of the UPS network in the following 18 months. So there was a large cost response necessary for that loss of volume from Amazon. We think it's about 55% of the Amazon business over that 18-month period. Now you have, questionable macro backdrop. You do have this shipper uncertainty. We have this reciprocal pause, so there is this potential maybe for one last pull forward of goods that may benefit them in the back half of the quarter. But I think as we sit here today and you think about a lot of supply chain paralysis, shippers sitting on their hands, not knowing if they should move their manufacturing to other parts of Southeast Asia or if they should just, kind of wait and see where things go over the next 60 to 90 days. But yes, UPS needs to be nimble. I think these cost initiatives they announced are positive. But the top line ultimately will determine, the EPS path going forward. And until we have much greater certainty on what shippers are going to do, how they're going to react to these tariffs, I think there's just a lot of question marks about the growth path.
Jonathan, what would you do in this situation just as an investor? Do you buy here? Do you steer clear till you get some of these questions answered?
Yeah, I steer clear. I mean, this is a stock that's really underperforming. You're showing it's up 1.35%. It was up 4% when the earnings first came out, just because, the top and the bottom line beat. But there's a lot of question marks here. You have the macro, you have potential recession risk, you have the tariff uncertainty, you have the Amazon drawdown. And, 55% by the second half of 26, I think the biggest tail risk is what happens to that remainder 45%. Does that eventually leave the UPS network? So just a lot of potential headwinds. Again, I think they're doing all that they can, controlling their controllables on that cost side, 20,000 headcount reductions, the 73 facilities. That helps, and it helps provide a little bit of a buffer. But again, the top line is going to ultimately determine the outcome here. And there's just so many question marks for an industry that's kind of already under some structural risk, given, Amazon not just leaving UPS's network, but building out so they touch every zip code within 24 hours in the next year or two. There's just a lot of headwinds here, a lot of uncertainty. We're still on the sidelines.
Ideas are meant to live, and Floor & Decor has everything in stock to help bring yours to life. Beautify your bath in budget, on time, and beyond expected with Floor & Decor.
So we received the MRI results, and when we did, he had a very large tumor.
When we started out, we knew that the insurance company, everything was paying everything. But after I got out 6 months later, I got a bill.
Now, my bad, chat. Y'all catching commercials and all, bro. Full commercials. My bad. I had to finish eating. Listen. I'm going to tell you now. What Gavin Newsom talking about. 44 minutes, I'll be out of here before this is over.
All right.
Got a brother in the back. Okay, brother.
Thank you for being here, visiting our offices here at Accenture, and thank you, guests. It's really an honor and a privilege to have you here in downtown Los Angeles. I'll be brief. I just want to start by saying 50% of all venture capital in the United States flows through California. Half of the world's 20 largest companies, California. There's a reason for that. From advanced technology to biotech to renewables, California leads the world, and innovative companies want to be here. It's not accidental that innovation has flourished here. Partnerships between the public and private sector are commonplace here, and there's a reason for that. And it's not because it can be 65 degrees here for
Yeah, it is.
year.
Yeah, it is.
It requires the conditions for that to happen. And Governor, I want to thank you for your unrelenting focus to ensure that technology like AI, things that the world needs to solve the big problems, that you're leading the way, and and that's happening right here in California as it should. And thank you for allowing companies like Accenture to continue working with the state to tackle those hard problems and have an enduring impact. I travel around the world and I work with governments of all different types that want to learn more and adopt digital technologies. They want to be innovative. And I start with California. And that's not because I call California my home. It's because there is something special here in California, and that is that people want to come here to be creative. Companies want to come here to be creative, to build the things that solve the big problems.
He is passionate, boy. You hear the passion?
We turn the bold ideas into that big, long-lasting impact. And so, again, it's my pleasure to be here, and I will turn it over to Tino Cuellar, who is the president of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Thank you very much.
This ain't really what I thought it would be, y'all.
Good morning, and thank you, Mark. You know, 115 years ago, my organization was founded by Andrew Carnegie with one singular purpose. After he'd spent
There's always one, too.
around the world, he wanted to make an investment in making peace and cooperation across countries more effective. And he came to understand that that involved the improvement of governance, how it is that democracies worked as well. Today, our organization works in multiple countries, but with one singular purpose: how to make the world a little bit more effective at cooperating and more effective at responding to the needs of people. Here in California, we have an enormous opportunity, and my organization, Carnegie, has been pleased to partner with the state of California to take...
Man, they ain't saying nothing about nothing. That's crazy as shit.
Representative Jasmine Crockett does not hold.
Nigga, I ain't trying to hear that either. Where's this Trump live rally at?
To invest into infrastructure, into healthcare and education. That's what I believe, and that's the only one way to do it is by working together.
Well, you're sending a clear message. I see the 3 flags behind you, and that includes one of the United States of America. Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
Yeah, I love the Americans. Everyone knows it.
We
They're
do
champions.
know that. We do know that.
Yeah,
Premier, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Kara.
You bet. Well, Jeff Bezos, who's worth about $205 billion and had a front row seat to the inauguration.
Here we go. What are you talking about, man?
For what they call a hostile and political act. But now the Amazon founder and his company are actually walking back this idea that the website was going to display the cost of President Trump's tariffs next to the total price of products.
What?
ABC News has learned now that President Trump actually got on the phone, called Bezos, and said, hey, you got to put a stop to this.
How did your call with Jeff Bezos go?
Great. Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly.
What?
And he did the right thing, and he's a good guy.
And following the call, Amazon released this updated statement. This time it said this was never approved and it's not going to happen. Joining me now, business correspondent Alexis Christoforous. Boy, the president calls you and things change.
Quick.
Yes, rather quickly, Kara, absolutely. I think this phone call just underscores the personal relationship President Trump has with some of America's biggest leaders. We've got, Amazon's leader, Jeff Bezos, walking back this plan to possibly be very transparent about how much these tariffs are going to cost Americans by displaying the cost differential right there on the website, not for the overall website, but they had considered this for Amazon Haul, which is where Amazon sells its lowest priced items, so like $20 or less. But look, President Trump has called Jeff Bezos great in the past. Bezos was at the inauguration. Amazon donated $1 million to the Trump inaugural fund. So in many ways, it seems as though Trump took this as a personal affront when Amazon was thinking about possibly doing this, Kara.
So
I'm gonna tell you now. I tell people this. I had a conversation with my homies that work with Maybach. First conversation ever, I said, listen, bro, all the money we ever talk about in the hip hop culture, Benzes, Gucci belts, all this fly shit. Don't you know that politically you could buy what the fuck you want with $1 million? Next inauguration, next governor, you can do mayor, you can do county mayor, whatever, right? Assemblyman. Next president, they win, lose, whatever. Put $1 million up towards their inauguration. See how far it gets you in your business in the black culture. Because when you're talking about jobs, businesses, building life, that's the part that y'all people don't get politically. Like, even the grassroots side, like you could talk about AOC, she don't take money from the big corporations. Do you know as a federal congressional candidate, you can't take corporate dollars anyway? Did you know that, motherfucker? They could send it to other PACs because the unions are PACs too. If you're working in a mail union, like hotel unions, construction, all these other kind of unions, right? If you're in these unions, they may take $2, $5 out your check that they bundle together to give to these congressional members, all your membership. And that's what buys your clout. Because you have 30,000 members that are giving you $1,000 for your campaign. That's what happens. I mean, it's not bullshit, it's real. And the issue is, respectfully, even though I'm talking about the storms right here, the bigger issue is when you get down to it, there's not an investment from people who actually give a shit. Because you don't have to just be that sole person like a Jeff Bezos to give $1 million. You can bundle like, listen, hey, this is the black chambers, the U.S. black chamber. All of us bundle together to get you $1 million for your inauguration, Mr. President. State to state. Because guess what? When they need to break out those contracts, they're gonna give the contracts to their friends. Don't believe me? Go ask them. That's how this shit operates. The swamp will never get drained. Understand that the swamp will never get drained. There'll always be a running miss nonsense. Okay, well, who's next in charge? And the next person in charge will be the one that will basically determine what it'll be. So if you realize that all the resources that your culture, that you spend, anybody could spend, nonsense, on bullshit, Gucci's, everything else, like, bruh, if we really want, I'm not saying one person again, collectively, it just needs that push. Let's see who's at the Trump rally. Let's see where people are at the Trump rally. And they inside, checking to see who else may be at this rally before. Because there's been a lot of fake news. I'm streaming. Gotta go. House Progressive Caucus. See what the progressives talking about.
Founded by the richest men on earth. The most important story of Trump's 100 days is crystal clear. Trump, Musk, and the billionaire class are using the government to rip off working people every single day for 100 days. For 100 days.
Would that be what Bezos just did? By posting up that he's going to put the tariff prices on Amazon, and the president calls and says, listen, bro, you know what's going on. Because you also know that, again, UPS is cutting 20,000 jobs, and they're going to lose some of that Amazon. UPS may not be driving through your neighborhood as much as Amazon trucks will be. But 100 days in, what people voted for, I guess.
While claiming to be, quote, anti-establishment, but in the last 100 days, Trump has finally ripped that anti-establishment mask off, starting with the row of billionaires sitting right behind him at his inauguration and continuing every day since. Trump has created a government by and for the billionaires. And if anyone ever doubted that Trump and Musk and Bezos and the billionaires are all at one team, just look at what happened at Amazon today. Bezos immediately caved and walked back a plan to tell Americans how much Trump's tariffs are costing them.
Yep.
Bezos, who spent $40 million on Melania Trump's documentary, wants big tax cuts and sweetheart deals much more than he wants to represent the American people.
I mean, why would he want to represent it? Bezos doesn't represent the American people, though.
And Trump are on one team and stick together. And it is the responsibility of Democrats to bring people across the country together that are everybody else, besides the billionaires. Today, Americans don't need a dictionary to know what oligarchy is. All they have to do is turn on the news. Musk cutting Social Security services and firing veterans to pay for bigger government contracts for himself. House Republicans pushing the biggest cuts to Medicaid in American history to pay for tax cuts for their billionaire donors. And Trump jacking up prices on working families by $4,000 a month in order to have corporations and billionaires come sit at his feet and pay him extortion money in order to get exceptions to his tariffs. I don't care what word we use for it. Democrats need to make confronting the billionaire takeover of our government our top priority. Now, I do see some hope amidst the darkness. 100 days ago, there were many Democrats who were grieving or unsure of where to go from here. 100 days ago, there was
they still in the same spot.
Whether to play footsie,
they still in the same spot.
Go to toe with him.
I don't know what Democrats you're looking at, because the ones that's not in front of this, guess what? I'm gonna tell you right now, young man, Congressman. Nobody knows who you are. Outside of your district, nobody knows who you are right now. So you're really speaking right now for your people back home so they can put you on the local news to talk about what you said during the 100 days. Nobody knows who you are in other parts of the country. They know this young lady right here because she's a part of the 4 that got attacked. They're waiting to hear her speak. But nobody knows you, sir, on these 100 days of president's been in office.
For working people. In the short term,
and for that, to be real, I'm going to skip to where the people want to be.
Chaos and the destruction were on its way when Trump got sworn in 100 days ago. And just in 3 months, we have seen the gutting of institutions, the shattering of norms, and the fundamental rights of so many people being trampled on. We have watched Trump tear through our government like a wrecking ball by destabilizing federal agencies, undermining the rule of law, and lashing out against anyone who dares to dissent. Trump said he would fight for workers. Instead, he handed the federal government over to a billionaire, Elon Musk, who fired tens of thousands of public servants whose only crime is doing their job. And what do we have to show for it? Not $1 trillion in saving, not even close. Trump swore he would bring down prices. Instead, his reckless tariffs have rattled markets, interest rates are soaring, and the threat of recession looms.
Thanks for the subscribers today.
A recent poll showed that only 11% of Americans feel better off since the election, with majority believing the economy is deteriorating.
I'm going to stop the stream there. I think that everybody knows talking point. Look this over. I'll say this, everybody tapping in. I appreciate everyone on TikTok, Twitch, Kick, YouTube that have tapped in. We've had over 4,000 people tap into the stream today, y'all. I just checked the number. What I have to do, realistically, is go pick my son up from daycare, get him situated, and I may tap right back in because guess what? We have numbers to get on this channel, and we need to be more situated. And also, Trump going to be speaking live in Michigan, so we want to make sure we'll have that. So I'm going to change up the artwork on the cover. We're going to have Trump's 100th day rally, maybe get some chats, see what people have to say about that. But I want to thank everybody who was tapping in earlier. I'll be back. I did kind of enjoy it. The chat was popping earlier, so we'll see what's up, man. And we picked up a lot more subs. Everybody join the community, and remember, we're streaming everywhere: TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. But I'm also about to drop a new video where I break down my 2 cents on Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, and that draft. So check that out as well. I got to drop it in Opus, get some clips on that. So we're gonna be having that on top of this. So it's going to be a lot of content dropping. But either way, I appreciate y'all tapping into the stream, man. I'm out.